wanted to do. I've been wanting to do a long live stream for a long time. Let's see if we can get this done. So I'm going to start this live stream. Most people are probably going to think it's a joke. It is a joke, but it is a true story. It's true to the title. So the title isn't. It's not a clickbait title. This is a true story. So yeah, in 2017, when I had a mental health breakdown and I was in a mental hospital, the Gordon Hospital, there was a woman in there. Well, there was a lot of people in there that were mentally unwell, both men and women. And just to speed the story up, and I'll go longer, see what happens later on. So basically, as you can imagine, you're not going to be feeling good if you're in a mental hospital. Certainly not on the first couple of days, right? Now, I don't want anyone to have to go in a mental hospital to understand what I'm saying, but I wasn't feeling good. So I can't remember. It was a day in, a couple of days in, and I couldn't really communicate. I was too vulnerable. I was too anxious. I was suffering with mental health problems, voices, intrusive thoughts. Anyway, one of the women in there, she came up to me. I saw her coming up, like about to walk up to me, and I was just like, I just didn't want to speak to anyone because I was just frightened and just mentally unwell. And she asked me what my name was, and I said, Jonathan. I was being polite, and then she said, she goes, "Oh, you're really handsome," and it made me a bit shy and embarrassed, although it was unflattering. But at the time, because I was so sensitive, anything someone said or anyone just coming near me would just make me feel, a bit triggered. And then she said it again. She was saying, "Oh, Jonathan's really handsome," saying it, like loud. And the staff there, the workers in hospital, they were like, leave him alone, leave him alone. And then she said, "He looks like an Armani model." And although I was flattered at the time, because no one's ever said that to me, but I stopped for a second and I just remember thinking, it's not true what she said. There's no way that I look like an Armani model. There's no way I look like an Armani model. If I look like any type of model, it would be a Reebok model. Obviously I didn't say that to her, but it makes me laugh. And I told a few friends that, and they were laughing. But that is a true story. And there's a lot of other information. And I think of that sometimes, and it makes me laugh. But yeah, according to her, she thought I was really handsome, and it cracks me up that she thought I looked like an Armani model. So I don't know what all of you feel about that. You're probably not going to agree. And at the time, I certainly wasn't feeling like a model. I mean, I was I was depressed. I was out of my mind. I didn't look great. I didn't feel great. I didn't feel attractive. I definitely didn't feel like a model. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So that's a little bit of my story. This is a story that I'm still struggling to share because it was 6 years ago. There was a lot of things that happened whilst I was in a mental hospital for 6 weeks. I learned a lot. I changed as a person. I'm still processing some of the lessons that I learned. So it's hard to sum it up into words, but I've often said, if there's one word that I could give to summarize the experience, the word would be gratitude. And that leads on to what I said on this title, which is hope. Because one of the things that I've realized when I was in a mental hospital, well, many things I realized, but I really realized that, I really learned about struggling, about what it means to really struggle. We've all got struggles, obviously. We have struggles from day to day, and I had many struggles before that experience, but I never really understood and learned what it actually meant when you are literally, when you're basically facing death. Now, how I could describe that experience leading up to the breakdown and being in hospital was, I literally died. And I died whilst being alive. And that's what the psychotic episode felt like. It felt like I couldn't control it. And that's why I was so frightened and terrified. It's like I couldn't do anything. It's not like if you're in a situation and you're scared, you're gonna try and survive. Like, I've been in some life and death situations growing up around my area, where someone tried to stab me, a gang tried to stab me, or someone said, you know, the gang said that they were going to shoot me. So I've been in those situations, and don't get me wrong, they're frightening. But this was the most frightening thing that I've ever been through in my life, because it just felt like I was powerless. I couldn't do anything. You know, whatever I tried to do wasn't going to work. It was like I was being spiritually broken down mentally, and it felt like everything about me, everything about my life was just being destroyed. And all I could do was just pray to God and beg God that He's going to help me, because it was like I'm dying, and you know, obviously, you know, I didn't want to die. I wanted to get through it, and I didn't quite understand what was happening. Part of me thought, well, I'm having a spiritual awakening. This is a spiritual realization. But then another part of me felt like, well, I'm being attacked by demons. These thoughts, these intrusive thoughts. I don't like them. I can't stop them. They're attacking me. So and then I was trying to figure out, I don't want to be in this place. Like, I need to escape. So I'm not joking. It's like I've grown up watching movies. We've all watched movies, and I remember watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with my dad, with Jack Nicholson. It's an amazing movie, but it's depressing. It's a tragedy. It's kind of beautiful. It depends how you look at it. And I remember watching that movie, and everyone who watches that movie, it doesn't matter who you are, you can't help, you're human. If you're watching that movie where Jack Nicholson basically pretends that he's unwell, so they put him in a mental hospital, so he gets off of going to prison for a charge, I can't remember. So it's a mental hospital with obviously people that are unwell. Now, when you're watching it, the first thought that you're going to have in your head is, I never want to be in a mental hospital, and that's never going to happen to me. We all think that, we're human. That's human ignorance, right? And no. So, you know, it's weird, like, I'm watching that film, you know, when I'm younger, and all of a sudden I'm like, my childhood, my worst nightmare, other than, you know, dying or being eaten by a great white shark, or being in the ocean and there's great white sharks coming at me. That's one of my biggest fears. But one of my biggest childhood fears is being locked up against my own will, and even worse than being in prison, being in a mental hospital. And bearing in mind at the time, when I first got submitted to a mental hospital, I think I'm fine. Obviously I know deep down something's not right, but I'm thinking everyone's gone mad. We always think, I thought, I'm awake, I'm spiritually awake, the whole world's gone mental. You know, my family are turned against me. You know, everyone's against me, and they're going to lock me up in this place, and I'm actually sane. We'll get to that in a second. So I'm really frightened and confused, and I'm thinking, what is going on here? Like, why am I being punished? I haven't done anything wrong. You know, I've just had a spiritual awakening, and I've become aware that, you know, I'm not the person that I thought I was growing up for many years. That's my ego. And success and all these things that I've achieved, they don't have any meaning. Like, they're kind of meaningless. Although I had a lot of fun, sometimes it weren't fun. And, you know, who I thought I was is actually not the person I am. And then it would bring me on to, well, who am I then? And I wouldn't have all the answers, of course, but I'd be thinking, damn, I'm not my mind. Damn, I'm not my bank account. Damn, I'm not my YouTube following. It doesn't mean anything. Damn, you know, the person that my family think I am, they don't know me. The person that my friends think, like, they don't really know me. No one's ever met me. No one has ever, even I don't know myself. But there's an intelligence in me. There's an awareness that knows the truth. Deep stuff, right? Maybe some of you, it wouldn't be deep, because many people have had realization. So I'm almost trying to explain this. I'm trying to explain this to my parents. They're frightened. Obviously, they don't understand. I'm trying to explain this to the doctors, and they just think, he's crazy, he's cracked up. I'm trying to, like, before I got put in hospital, the mental hospital, my mum was worried about me. Obviously, I wasn't well. People were worried. And I'm laughing. So I went to see a doctor, and he was like, you know, what's wrong, Jonathan? Is everything okay? Like, your mum's really concerned. This is actually just before I went to a mental hospital, right? I was reluctant. I didn't trust people at the time, other than my nan. I'll get to God and a couple of people, but generally I was very like untrusting of everybody. So when I went to the doctors and he said to me like, "What's wrong?" I remember saying like, nothing's really wrong really. I think I said to him, "I'm struggling with like my childhood trauma," which was a lot of truth in that. And I said, "I've had an awakening, and I kind of like I know who I am, and everybody, everyone's sort of saying that I'm not well and I'm actually okay." Something like that anyway. And obviously the doctor, he didn't say much. He was just looking at me and judging me and assessing me. And then he was like, okay, he didn't really respond too much. And then I left the doctors, and then he must have spoke to my mum and said like, he needs to be like, he's really unwell, your son. He needs to be sent to a hospital. So I was resisting. My mum said to me like, really worried about you. Like she was pleading. She was like, please, would you go into hospital for a couple of days? The doctor said that you need to. Like you're not well. And I didn't know it was a mental hospital at the time. I thought my mum and the doctors just meant like a regular hospital. And I was like, I can handle a couple of days in a regular hospital. I'm not mad on hospital food, but I can handle that. Because I remember just thinking, it's a couple of days. I've got my phone, internet. I can sit down, I can just sort of spiritually connect myself. Now, I've gone to this kind of small hospital, like centre, and then all of a sudden I get a bad feeling, like this man comes up. I can see that I can see that basically like he's trying to hide basically that, he's basically trying to hide from me that he's a bit concerned about my behaviour, about that I'm unwell. He's trying to be professional, and I am unwell at the time, of course, but I'm really sensitive, and I'm trying to I'm basically in protection. I'm really frightened and paranoid, and obviously at the time I'm in denial. I can't admit that I'm unwell, and people are sort of saying to me like, "You're not well, you need to get help." And I'm, a lot of people will be like this. It's natural, you're frightened and haven't fully accepted that you're not well. So he walks over to me and he's kind of friendly. He's like, "Do you mind like just having a chat outside?" There was like a garden area. My mum's sitting in this kind of like small hospital. There's a lady. There's just a weird atmosphere. Like everyone's quiet, and I'm starting to feel a bit angry because I feel like, I kind of feel like I feel a bit in danger. Like, what are they gonna do? So I went out to the garden and he said a couple of words like, your mum's really worried about you. She's concerned. I got a bad feeling. It was making me anxious. Would you come into hospital for 2 days? And I was like, all right, okay. Do I have to? Like I said, I'd rather not, to be honest. But if I have to, and he's like, it would be probably better for you. So I said, okay, I'll come into hospital for 2 days. Okay, so I've agreed to it. So basically they were like, oh, there's a car going to pick you up. And I was like, okay. So like my mum was concerned, doctors, and then my mum left and I came out and a car pulled up. There was a lady driving the car, and there was a guy with her, and I didn't trust the guy that was with her. I got a bad feeling because I was like, why is he coming so close to me? Like, what is going on? Like, and then he's like, oh, I'm just here like a security or something. So when I sat in the car, obviously the lady was driving, he sat next to me, and that's when I thought, oh no, I feel like I'm being arrested here. Like, what is going on? I haven't done anything wrong. And I felt like I wanted to get out. So they drove me to the hospital, and when we got there, I went into this kind of like this door, this ground floor. I didn't really know what was going on. I was thinking, where is this hospital? Like, I know this is Victoria, but I was trying to like figure out where they're taking me, because I just thought they're going to take me to St Mary's Hospital in Paddington. That's where I was born, like a proper hospital. So I was like, I've never been here before. This is kind of small. And they were like, hold on a second, we just got to go up and they basically said, we've got to find you a bed. Like, all the beds are pretty full, so wait downstairs. And I was waiting down, and the guy wouldn't leave. He was by my side, and every time I was kind of looking, he was just looking at me, watching me, and it was starting to make me feel nervous. Like, I had that feeling like, why is he policing me? Why is he standing next to me? And I'll explain that in a second. So they were like, okay, they got you a bed, they got you a mattress. So we got in this lift, or we went upstairs. Now we've gone up a few floors. When we've gone inside, like, I literally start panicking. Like, my legs start shaking. I'm just terrified, because I suddenly realised, like, this is not a normal hospital. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why am I here? I start hearing shouting. Obviously, the people in there are mentally unwell, and they lock the door behind. And then I'm like, what's going on? And I start panicking. And when you panic and you look at someone and you can see in their face like that they're kind of hiding something, and then they sort of panic, and then I could almost feel like if I move, they're going to grab me. And that's when I was scared to death. Like, I was frightened. I haven't been this frightened as a grown man. I was 34. I haven't felt this level of fear since, like when you're a kid, like when I got in trouble by the police with friends for doing silly things like graffiti, or just being chased by the police for like just doing silly things, and you get that fear, or when a gang's chasing you and you're running, you're frightened. It was such an intense fear. It was like, I don't understand, like, why am I being put in a prison, in a hospital, and I've not done anything wrong. I couldn't understand it. My mind was trying to understand what was going on, and I'm really, really unwell. At the same time, I don't want to be in this place. Like, I'm literally thinking, I want to get out of here. Like, I have to get out. And that's when I started to resist and say, like, why am I here? And they were like, oh, you have to be here. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, these people seem quite unwell. And they were like, and then they started to sort of get stricter with me. And that's when I started to think, no, I don't want to be here. Like, what are these people doing to me? So then I started hearing shouting. Obviously the people that were unwell on the ward, there was one guy shouting, swearing. He was massive, a big guy, like banging on the door, swearing, and it was triggering me. I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to get out of here. There was other people like not saying much. Some of them were medicated, and my adrenaline was like so high. I was like, my whole thing was just, how do I get out of here? Like, they've locked the doors, I can't leave. Like, they've all got like keys, cards. It's like, I'm in my worst nightmare. Like, and then I start thinking about my life. Like, oh my God, I want my life back. Like, even though I wasn't well, it's like, I started like, like when you lose things in life, you immediately start appreciating what you had. Even if you didn't appreciate what you had, you just want your life back. Like, I just wanted to be free. And that feeling is horrible, isn't it? What was for me, where you feel like you're being punished, and for something that, like, you haven't done anything wrong. So in my mind, obviously now I'm well. Obviously I can look back and go, I went well, but in my thinking, I was like, why am I being punished? I haven't done anything wrong. Like, I've just had a spiritual awakening, and like my family have basically betrayed me. They've abandoned me. They put me in this hospital, and I don't understand what's going on. Like, I thought they loved me. Like, we were close. What's going on? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, I haven't, I haven't robbed a bank. I haven't done anything wrong. All I've said was, I basically just expressed that I've had a spiritual awakening, and I've had a realization, and that's kind of what I've said. That's kind of like my argument. And so I'm just confused. I'm like, I don't understand, why are these people doing this to me? Like are they evil? What is going on? Like, so anyway, so I'm going through this process. It's busy. There's loud noises. There's people shouting. There's doors banging. They put me in a room. I'm sitting there. I'm nervous. I'm trying to look and see a way out. Now, this is crazy. You can't make this stuff up. I remember thinking, it's weird. Like, it's weird how your mind works, how your instincts come in. It's probably me growing up on a council estate in a lot of danger and having that sort of survival way of thinking. Now, I remember thinking, I'm going to get out of here, but obviously I couldn't open the doors because the doors were locked. So when one of the workers were coming in and out, so I timed it. I was at the reception. They called me up to fill forms out. So as one of the ladies who worked there was opening the door, she put her key card. As she's opened it, I just busted the door open. I went bang, and she was like, she screamed, and then obviously, like, I was running down the stairs. I didn't know the way out, so I'm running down these stairs. I'm literally like, when you're running so fast because you're so scared, I'm falling down the stairs, but I'm running, and I can hear security chasing me, and I'm trying to find a way out. And I run down the stairs. There's all these stairs. It's hard to find a way out. There's a corridor. I bust the doors open. I'm running down the corridor, like, I can't breathe. And as I'm running down the corridor, it's a dead end, and I'm trying to open the doors and they're locked, and there's all security around me. There's like, I don't know, there's 3 or 4. And I just remember saying, I'm not embarrassed to say it, because I was so scared and vulnerable. I remember thinking they're going to beat me up, and I wasn't in a state to fight back. I was vulnerable. I was really, really sensitive. I was like a child, really. I was weak. So I remember just saying, please, don't touch me, don't come near me, don't hurt me. It's funny. I said, I got bullied at school. Please, back off. And they were really nice. They were like, don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. I said, don't hurt me. I'm going to comply. And then they were just come back. I said, no problem. So I had the awareness to do that, and they were gentlemen. They didn't harm me, because sometimes they do that in these places. And I get it. They got to look after their safety. So they escorted me up, and then they were kind of nice. I calmed down a bit. I was like, I can't get out. So they've taken me back up to the hospital. And sorry, guys and girls, there's a lot to get through. This is why I've been working really hard, because there's a lot to share, and I need to get on some, hopefully, please God, get on some podcast shows so I can have 2-3 hours to share this story. It's a story of hope. So that was my first introduction to being sectioned in a mental hospital and not really knowing what's going on, thinking that I'm not unwell, thinking that I'm just had a spiritual awakening, thinking that everyone's conspiring against me, that these thoughts in my head were saying that people are coming for me. That's what I was dealing with. I can't trust anyone. The only people I could trust, in my mind, the only people that I could trust were people that were awake, that I knew they were like me, right? And a couple of friends, a mentor, my nan. Obviously, I love my nan. My nan is passed away 12 years ago, but I felt like my nan was the only person I could turn to. I've always trusted my nan. She means everything to me. So I was kind of feeling like there's not many people that I can trust, and people are coming to get me. So I was hearing intrusive thoughts, paranoia. I was sick, and these thoughts were saying that they're going to kill me, they're going to get me, and people are coming to get me because I'm spiritually awake, they're threatened, I've got a gift, I'm trying to save humanity, and basically they're going to kill me. So I'm scared for my life. I'm dealing with all that. I need another coffee to get through. Lovely to see you guys, man. Good evening. Yeah, it's been a long time. Thank you, I appreciate that compliment. This is lovely to be here. So day one was the hardest day for me, because I'm scared to death. I don't know what's going on. I'm in denial that I'm mentally unwell. I think that although I did have an awakening, but we'll get to that. And I just feel like, basically, I feel like I've been set up. I feel like people are conspiring to harm me, because I'm basically, like a good person. And I guess, yeah, I do a lot of intermittent fasting. I do. So day one, yeah, I remember filling out a form and then waiting a long time in a room, and I remember just really struggling to get used to the atmosphere, because there was a lot of shouting and banging. There was a lot of stress going on. It was a stressful environment, and then there was security telling some of the patients calm down, and that was triggering me, scaring me. Then there was a big guy shouting. I was thinking, oh man, I just don't need this. Anyway, so they escorted me to a cell. I finally got my own room, and they gave me a cell that was right at the front near reception, near the stairs, and it wasn't a nice place. And when they put me in there and closed the door, that's when I just broke down, and I just started crying. I was just terrified, and I just thought my life is over. I just honestly thought, I'm never going to have love again. I'm never going to be happy again. I'm never going to feel normal again. Oh, the title of this video is based on a true story. It's a bit of a joke, but it's a true story. When I was in hospital, there was a lady in there, and she thought I was handsome, and she said I looked like an Armani model. Now, of course, I don't believe that for a second, but it's a true story, and I like to make jokes and things like that. So you're welcome. So first night in hospital, they finally put me in my cell. They closed the door. There's no internet in this room. There's no television. It's a small cell. It's like a prison cell. There's a little bed. There is a cupboard, and there's literally nothing else. Was there a toilet? I can't remember if there was a toilet. And at that point, Um, yeah, I just remember. I remember it so clear. I remember literally believing, guys and girls, whoever's listening. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I remember the emotion came up. I had this emotion, and I had this thought, and I had this feeling of death, dread, and it honestly felt like I believed in the moment. That's why I was sobbing and crying. I believed that my life's over. Now, I know that some people might go, what do you mean the life's over? Like, well, I'm going to be straight. I thought that they're going to lock me up. They're going to section me. They're never going to let me out. And you've got to remember, on that day, obviously I'm not mentally well, but I don't understand that. I don't know that. So can you imagine that? So part of me, obviously, there's still part of me that's aware. I'm aware, I'm sane enough to know that I'm in a mental hospital and I don't want to be here. And I'm basically like, I feel like I've lost my entire life. But another part of me is thinking, why am I being punished? I haven't done anything wrong. I almost felt like these demons are attacking me in my mind, these intrusive thoughts. The mental illness is attacking me. I've not done anything wrong. And these people are punishing me. And I'm like, this is evil. Like, where is like God? What is going on here? Where's my family? Like, if I'm being honest, and this is not personal, I even felt like, where are all you lot? That's how I was. I just was broken. I was like, I've got no friends. All these fans that are following me around the world, where's all the love now? No one cares. All the, all that, everything. I was just like, I can't believe I'm being treated like this. So, I felt hopeless. I felt lonely. I felt abandoned. I felt frightened. I remember actually there was a part of my awareness, and I've always been looking forward to sharing this. I hope this helps people. There was a part of me, my small awareness, that actually was judging me. That was probably, whatever I remember it saying, if everyone saw how weak I was and how scared I was, everyone would laugh at me. They wouldn't believe it. Like, I can't believe how frightened I am, because, I prided myself on quite a strong person. That's not to say that deep down I always had insecurities, but I grew up in a council estate. I'd got through a lot of life and death situations, and that's not me exaggerating. That's just the truth. And I've been in a lot of fights. I hate fighting, because I got bullied a lot, so I had to fight. And I got through a lot of tough situations. And I went in a boxing ring. I got beaten in the amateurs. I got beaten fair and square. But I had the courage to get in. I was a very brave man, and I built a successful business. But none of that mattered. None of it, because in that situation, the truth didn't care, the fear didn't care, and the fear was so humbling that, I was crying. I was crying like a baby. I was literally just thinking, it was weird. It's like, it wasn't even like I didn't want to take my own life. I wanted to live. I was like, I'm scared of dying. But I'm not just dying, but basically being spiritually lost and locked up, and them never letting me out. I just felt in darkness. So now, the next part, which is the part I love sharing, and it's still a surprise to me. When I was going through that, of course, when you're so desperate, well, this is how I was. When money can't help, money didn't mean anything. Big muscles didn't mean it didn't matter. Fame, I was nobody. It doesn't matter, I was nobody. I just wanted to get out of darkness and get my life back. And my whole instinct, my whole being said, I have to get a copy of the Bible. Now, bearing in mind, right, I've been a Christian my whole life. I've definitely not been a perfect Christian, right? That's definitely. But I was always believed in Jesus growing up. And it was never forced on me, which I like. My parents never forced it on me. Although I went to a Catholic school and things like that, but I had it in my own heart, and I didn't really read the Bible much. I knew some of the stories. I went to church here and there. If I'm being honest, as a kid, I wasn't a massive fan of church. It depends on who I was around. It used to, but I would always pray on my own. Most people didn't know this about me. This is when I was a kid. Whenever I'd get scared, or if I was getting bullied at school, or if I got rejected by a girl, or if when my dad was abusive, things like that, and I felt scared, I would always say, please God, like, please, like, I would generally pray. It would be like from the heart, humble, and I'd always, things would work out through like someone being kind, or something would happen. Like even when I was, kids were threatening that they're gonna beat me up and stuff. So I would always turn to God, and it would always help me and make me feel great and give me the strength to keep going. But if I'm being honest, probably when I was younger, I was probably a bit embarrassed and a bit ashamed and a bit scared of what people would think, because there's always that with people. You can always be judged. So years later, I lost my faith, especially through building a lot of success and becoming famous to the people that knew me. Right, I wasn't as famous as a lot of people, but I was famous. I experienced fame. So I didn't consciously do it, and obviously my values have always been like Christian, but I lost my faith somewhere along the lines down the years, and I didn't realize it, and I didn't realize how much that was killing me and hurting me, because I was so caught up in being selfish, success, and if I'm being fair, and I don't regret it, I was so focused on pleasing people all the time and helping people, which I don't regret, but I was just, I just forgot. I forgot, and it would, it's funny because when I talk about it, I realise how much it means to me. Now, sorry I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but it all makes sense. So I always prayed when I was younger, and I always gave thanks. Like when things worked out, I'd naturally always say, thank you God, I really appreciate that. Especially, growing up poor. My mum and dad worked hard, but we didn't have much money, and that was always a struggle for me, and I always felt very ashamed. So when I would struggle with money, I would always pray to God and say, please God, like, please help me, like, and something would work out. So I would always give thanks, but there was no pressure. Like I didn't have to prove to anybody that I was a Christian. I believed in God, because I didn't need that. I had my own relationship, and it worked for me. And I just want to make a point of saying, I don't push my faith on other people, and I respect everyone's religion, because that's very personal to people, and I've always been like that, and that's just how I am. And I don't like it if people push religion on me or anything on me. I'm the sort of person that's going to say, don't do that to me. Like, I respect what you're saying, but if I'm not asking you and you're forcing it on me, then I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to stand up for myself. So I'm just sharing my story, so making the point. So years later, moving forward as a kid, when I was feeling suicidal in my 20s, and I've shared this story and it's true, before I became successful and all of you knew me, I prayed in my flat in Fulham, and I said, please God, help me. Like I can't take this no more. Like I don't want to kill myself, but I'm close to killing myself because I'm so depressed. I can't get a girlfriend, I can't get a woman, I've got no money, I want to help people, I can't get a job, I want to work, I've got all these mental health problems, I'm struggling with my past, the trauma, the things that happened with my dad, with the abuse, bullying, social anxiety. I just feel worthless, I feel like a loser, and I can't take this no more. I can't live like this. I was living in a lovely area in Fulham, which is beautiful. I appreciated my small flat, but I couldn't cope with life. My anxiety, I couldn't cope. I couldn't handle it no more. I was literally at breaking point. I was so disappointed in myself. I had high expectations, and I just felt like, I'm such a loser. Like I didn't go to university. I'm in my 20s. I don't have any money. I'm not inspiring anyone. I don't travel. I'm just a complete coward and a loser. And I couldn't accept that no more. I couldn't deny it. And I couldn't do it anymore. I just thought, like, I'm either going to kill myself, which I don't want to do. And I remember thinking, like, if I killed myself, it would destroy my family. Like I don't want to do that. And I remember thinking, like, if I kill myself, like I can't do that, my faith. So the only option I've got, and at the time I didn't trust people, again, only a small amount. I had a couple of friends I could talk to, but it was hard for me, my pride, and I was like in my 20s. So I prayed to God, I begged God, and when I prayed, I felt relief, I cried, and then I heard Les Brown's message. And when I heard that Les Brown video, I literally cried, because when I heard his story, it took away the pain I was in, and I didn't want to kill myself anymore. And I knew I was going to be successful. I knew it. I knew it weren't going to be easy. I knew that I was going to have to face a lot of fears, but I knew it. I knew it. It was like You know, when you're rock bottom and you've given up and you literally are considering killing yourself, but you don't want to die. I was scared of dying, but I was afraid of living, and I was frightened that I was never going to change. And I couldn't bear the thought. I remember just thinking, like, my mind was killing me. I remember just thinking, I can't live with myself. I can't imagine never having a woman, never having a relationship, or never having money. Like, and I remember just thinking, I can't stay like this. I can't have this anxiety. And even then, I was thinking, I want to help people. I've always wanted to do that as a kid. I want to be a speaker. I want to change people's lives. But how can I do that? I'm a loser. You know, I can't even help myself right now. So I was just like praying on this. It was like, I remember my prayer was like, please God, I just want this anxiety to go away. I'm sick of being broke. I'm sick of being judged. I feel like my family judged me. Society judges me. Everyone's looking down on me. I was really angry at myself. And I just felt like, you know, I was also being a victim. Like, why is this happening to me? Like, I'm a good person deep down. Like, you know, I was battling. So when Les Brown shared his story, bearing in mind I didn't know Les Brown. Like, this is a crazy story. One of my best friends that I grew up with, he had this book, and he was trying to change his life. And he said, "Oh, you've got to read this book, John. You've got to read it." He goes, "It's amazing." And I was like, "What is it?" And I was very ignorant at the time, very negative, very insecure, too much pride, and I didn't really like taking advice from other people because I had a real complex around. I had a complex around being told what to do, especially by men. It goes back to the abuse of my dad and bullying, and I just didn't like. I didn't like the feeling of someone talking down at me. Right, my friend was just being positive. So he showed me this book, and he went, Les Brown, and it had a picture of him on it, and I went, oh, that's great. But I remember in my head thinking, I'm not listening to this. Like, you know, good luck. But for some reason, that must have stayed in my subconscious mind, because when I was in my flat in Fulham after I prayed, something told me to go on my phone and access the internet. At the time, I only had a little bit of this is back in the day where we had to put credit on our phone, and the internet wasn't where it is now. Like, YouTube was quite new. So I've gone on YouTube, I've wrote in Les Brown, I've clicked on a video, I'm listening to this video, and I'm literally like, I'm hanging on to every word he's saying, and my heart, I can feel it. Like, I'm just, like, when I'm hearing his message, I'm being straight with all of you. Like, I just love him. Like, he reminds me of my nan. Like, I trust him. This is a good man. And I didn't trust many people at the time. I was super paranoid about trusting people, especially businessmen, because my thought process was, I don't trust them. They just want money. You know, I had that very poor mentality, which is very limited. But when I heard his message, and he said, you know, even right now, I could cry when I speak about it. I can feel the emotion I felt. You know, when he said, like, oh, it makes me emotional. But when he said, you know, raised on an abandoned building in Miami, Florida, you know, being called the dumb one at school and being labelled eligibly mentally retarded, and you know, when he started to say that, and when he said he was at school and all the kids laughed at him, that was it. I said, this is me. Like, obviously he lives in America, we're different people, this is my story. I thought I was the only one. I was ashamed for years of that. I couldn't tell anyone. I got laughed at school, and I felt completely stupid, and my dad used to call me stupid, and I felt like an idiot, and the teachers called me stupid. Not all of them, but some of them did. So I just felt like I felt socially retarded. I know that's not a nice word to use, and we don't use no word, but that's what I got called when I was younger, and I got shamed and laughed at. So I felt dumb growing up, and that used to make me hate myself and feel disgusting. So when Les Brown said they called me the dumb one at school, and one day, oh, this is emotional, this stuff, beautiful. So he said one day he was walking in school, and the teacher said, come into the classroom, young man. And Les Brown said, no, I'm not a member of your class. Like, and the teacher said, no, just come in anyway. And he said, solve that equation on the board. And Les Brown was like, basically, and I've been in this, like, similar. Les Brown said, like, no, I'm not a member of the class. Like, and the teacher said, don't worry, do it anyhow. And then he said, all the kids shouted out, he's the dumb one, he's the dumb twin. And Les Brown said he had a twin that was a smart one, and he was the dumb one. He had this thing, obviously he had a disability. So all the kids said, he's the dumb one. And then Les Brown said, that's right, sir, I'm the dumb one. And the teacher said, this is what broke me down. It made me cry. I'm a softie now, I cry everything. And the teacher said, don't ever say that, young man. Don't ever let someone's opinion become your reality. go and solve that board. And that changed Les Brown's life. That teacher that gave him that wisdom and that love inspired him. And when Les Brown shared his story, as Les Brown said, I didn't hear it in my head. I heard it in my heart. That's why I started crying with joy and with relief. And then when he started to continue his story and said it's possible, you can live your dreams if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to be a good person, if you're willing to get up again and again, if you're willing to, all the things that were simple, all kind of the values that I was brought up on, that a lot of my parents said, be a good person, stop caring what people think, work hard, never give up. When life knocks you down, make sure you land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And then he started saying, you've got to be hungry. And the energy of the talk, the message, the wisdom, the power of it, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna make it. Like I'm not a loser. I'm not having this anymore. I'm not letting people do this to me. Because when you're struggling, I was thinking about all the people that used to put me down and bully me. Even my own family, like some of my family, they were critical. They were condescending. Obviously not all of them. My nan was just the most beautiful person, like she was just amazing. But a lot of my family, especially my dad, even I love them, but they did it. My aunties would socially bully me. Like when I would say something, I'd always get shut down. So the rage and the anger and the hurt that I had from feeling like my family think I'm a loser, they don't respect me, the kids at school. So that pain, that hurt, and in my mind I remember just thinking, wait, watch. That saying, Frank Sinatra, the best revenge is success, but not in a way like I'm going to hurt anyone. It's like I don't want to hurt anyone, but I'm going to prove them wrong. Like they think, like I'm suicidal now, and these people think that they're going to do this to me and they're going to ruin my life. This evil, this bullying, I'm going to come back. When I come back, I'm going to change people's lives. I'm going to help good people, and I'm not going to let these bullies do this to me and these anxieties. I just had enough. I was at breaking point. So Les Brown got me in a very kind of, like I said, like in a very loving, non-angry, but a very determined state of consciousness, which is exactly what I needed. It felt like connecting to myself again. And then, I continued to listen to his story, and I changed. I know this sounds crazy and deep, but I changed before I changed, because no one was going to stop me. I didn't care anymore. Like in a healthy way, I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm willing to die. Like, I don't care if I get judged, if people laugh at me. I've got nothing to lose. I'm broke. I've got no money. I'm on benefits. I'm socially awkward. I've got anxiety. I've got low self-esteem. I feel like a loser. And that, in a way, freed me up. I've got nothing to lose, and that's what gave me so much drive and determination. And that Les Brown got me on this journey. And I remember he actually said in his talk, I don't know who you are right now, but he said, one thing I know is that you got greatness in you, that you got talents, you got goals, you got dreams and abilities that you don't even know you've got right now. And he said you could be inspiring millions of people all around the world. And I always wanted to do that deep down. I didn't know I was going to be a speaker or teacher. When I was younger, like all of us, we have dreams. I wanted to be a footballer. That didn't work out. I wasn't good enough. I was a good footballer. I wanted to be an actor, but I never tried acting. I always had a dream to be an actor, and like I wanted to do something good that would inspire people. So it was almost like I was like, this man knows me. He knows my heart. He knows what I want to do. And when he said that you can inspire millions of people, but obviously you've got to work hard. You've got to take action. And he said you will fail your way to success. When he said that, oh my goodness, I'm not ashamed anymore. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed that I feel like I failed my whole life, because he gave me permission. If he's gone from, I wasn't adopted at birth, right? But that's besides the point. Like, he was adopted, he grew up poor, he got judged, he had a disability. He's become a millionaire. It's not just about the money. He's like helping so many people, and the way he speaks is beautiful. I knew it. So for me, it was like, I'm gonna start going out and facing my fears, and and that's what I did. I went on a journey, and I started off small. I remember just going to the gym, working on my physique, doing weights, and then that led on to going. Basically, I went everything that frightened me, I faced it. Job interviews. I went on a lot of first stage job interviews. I went to the boxing gym. Basically, I'd done bodybuilding for a long time, for a while. during that period. Got a lot of confidence from bodybuilding, built myself up. Bruce Lee's one of my heroes, so Les Brown helped me a lot, as you can hear. I was obsessed with Bruce Lee growing up when I lived with my nan. I watched all of his DVDs, I read all of his books. I love the man, I still love him. So Bruce Lee, Les Brown gave me the inspiration from that point, and Bruce Lee inspired me to really be obsessive with my training and to really be dedicated. So I had a good friend of mine, we were both dedicated, we were both kind of trying to change our lives. So we did that for a while, and I continued on my own journey, and then eventually, I got a girlfriend, I fell in love, I moved out of my parents, I had no money when I met my girlfriend. She supported me. I love her for that. Most amazing woman at that time. And I built my business. I built the first business. I become financially free. I wasn't suicidal no more. That was the last thing. I just loved living. A lot of the anger that I had towards myself and other people, especially towards men, because I actually got bullied by both growing up, men and women, but mainly men. A lot of the anger and the hate that I had towards the men that bullied me or people that bullied me, that calmed down. And I remember thinking, I got to change. I can't be like that no more. Even though what's been done to me is wrong, I need to change as well. So that was part of the process of changing. But yeah, my external goals, I got a girlfriend, fell in love, that was my dream. Finally started to make money doing what I love. Moved in with my girlfriend, was getting on better with my family, that meant a lot. Got rid of a lot of the negative people basically what happened to me was I didn't want to get rid of any of my friends. I tried to help all of them, but basically when I become successful, I lost all my social circle. They got jealous and they didn't like it. And I didn't change, I was still lovely. I tried to help them, but that happened. So I lost all my friends, but they weren't really friends I feel a bit sad saying that. Probably my heart's changed a bit, but it was a bit fake. They were a bit fake. And maybe I was too, but that's life, I wish them the best. So yeah, I lost all my friends, but my girlfriend started making new friends and started building my business up and teaching. So that was I've gone really deep here. So like I said, back to my faith, when I got the success, I kind of I think a lot of people do it, and maybe I do feel a little bit bad, and I'll say that in my prayers, feel a bit guilty with my faith, but that's my challenge. I forgot to start praying. I didn't continue praying. That's been a lesson. So, I'm guilty of that. We often pray when we're really struggling, but when we get our prayers answered and we've got everything, we very quickly forget, right? So I need to get another coffee. So I was living a dream. I was in love, I was young, I was 28 when I started my business. I kind of made it probably by 29. By 29, I was successful with my dreams that I had to set out. Never expected that I'd do that. I had the expectation of me was very low. If I'm being most people from my area, this is the expectation, and I don't believe it, but in society. So I was expected to probably end up in prison, or if I didn't end up in prison, get on drugs, hard drugs, or if not on hard drugs, do a regular job. And there's nothing wrong with a regular job, but that wasn't my dream. So the expectations of me were extremely low. And I was never ever expected to make more than minimum wage. So I exceeded all expectation, and that was amazing. And I loved helping people. I just loved it. And I remember, I want to share this, hope it inspires people. I remember this experience where I was so happy that I felt, how did I feel? I remember feeling overwhelmed. I wasn't used to life going well for me. It almost felt, I actually can admit this now. At the time I wasn't as conscious as I am now. I was younger. But part of me, I didn't feel that I deserved it. Because I remember thinking, this is too good. Like I almost feel like it's too much for me. I need to give some of this away. Probably goes back to my upbringing, the money that I was making, the love that I had, the love from people, just where I was. I just felt like overwhelmed. It was overwhelming in a good way, like to have too much love, things going well, because I was so used to being depressed all the time and kind of like things having a little bit of love or things going bad again. So in terms of mental health, my mental health is great and my everything else, but obviously after a couple of years, I started to decline, and I didn't enjoy it no more. I didn't really enjoy being famous, if I'm being honest. I just hated it. I just got sick of it. I got sick of the pressure, sick of feeling that I have to constantly please everybody, and I felt the pressure. I didn't really like people coming up to me and recognizing me, because I just had enough of it. Didn't want to do it anymore. Just got sick of that lifestyle, and just kind of got to a stage where I just got lost in my life. I just felt like, is this all there is to life? Like, and I just remember thinking, like, I'm not happy. Like, I've got money, I've got some fame. I loved my girlfriend very much at the time. In between meeting her and after, I dated a lot of women. It wasn't making me happy no more, so I couldn't find happiness in women. I couldn't find happiness, sorry my language, in things like in sex. I just felt depressed. I felt spiritually lost. I felt empty, and I didn't know how to tell anyone. I just didn't know what was going on. I was like, what's happening to me? Like, why can't I appreciate this? Like, most people would love to have this life, but I just feel down. I feel lonely, really, really lonely. And for a while, I just toughed it out, because at the time I was still over pleasing, I think. And it's just got to a stage where I just remember thinking, I started to go online, look for answers. I was thinking, like, why am I unhappy? Like, why am I getting so much anxiety when, like, I've got a great life. Like, a lot of people, to a certain degree, a lot of people like me. I'm successful. Like, why can't I enjoy it? Like, what's changed? I couldn't understand what was going on. And I remember actually, eventually, when I loved my girlfriend very much, but we separated, right? We ended on good terms, but I couldn't cope, actually. I started to sort of break down, and we separated, and I eventually met someone else, and I was dating someone else. A woman fell in love with me, and I moved in with her. But I remember just like saying to her, like, I'm really depressed. She was like, oh, why are you down? Like, I don't think she understood. Like, I think she probably felt, which I understand, that like I was probably being ungrateful or looking for sympathy or attention or whatever. But I just was depressed, and I was just down, really, really depressed, and I didn't really know what was going on. Because you got to understand, guys and girls, it's like when you grow up struggling and you're poor and you got bullied at school, and you always wanted to be successful, but most of you thinks that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, and you just never thought you can do it. When you achieve it, it's such a shock. You're so happy, like the honeymoon period, but when it starts kicking in the reality, and because I'm a deep thinker as well, like all of you are, and I'm someone that, and I'm still this way, I always want to know the truth of things. Like, I'm like that. I was like that as a kid. Like, if I played a video game, like, if I like it, I have to clock it. I need to get to the end. So I think what happened to me was, well, I know it now. At the time, I was unconscious at that time, of course. I wasn't awake like I am now. I was younger, right? So obviously, I was doing the best I could with what I had. So on a conscious level, I'd gone out and did what a lot of men and women do. They seek love and stuff through fame and validation and success and money and material things. And I'm not saying that that's bad, although a big part of me is saying that it doesn't make you happy, and I'll get to that in a second. I want to put that into perspective. But I got to that stage, it was like, okay, I proved to myself that I'm not worthless, that I can get a girlfriend. Like, my girlfriend loves me, I love her to bits. I proved to myself that I'm not just some poor, peasant who's destined to be broke. I've made money, and I help a lot of people. I've changed people's lives, so I feel good about helping people. I've done a lot of public speaking, but I still felt like something's missing in my life. Like this can't be it, because it's making me miserable. Like, the very thing that was giving me so much joy has now turned, and it's making me manically depressed. And it's crazy to say this, I had thousands of fans all around the world. At several stages, I had a lovely girlfriend, and I had other relationships. And there was a period where, and I'm not particularly proud of this, and I'm not judging anyone. But for those of you that don't know me, I don't want to, that's not the example I want to set now. I'm 40 years of age, but I was younger then. I dated a lot of different women. I lived that lifestyle. and thought that was okay. And then I just felt like I just feel really lonely. And I remember thinking, how can I be lonely? I've got like thousands of people around the world that love me. I've got fans all around the world. I've got like, I could just like, anytime I want, I could just go on YouTube and say I'm lonely, and so many people would be like, I'll meet you, you know, I'll come and have a coffee with you. And I had friends, I had a girlfriend, I had my family. I felt lonely. I felt scared underneath. I felt really, really lonely. And I just remember thinking like, and I remember just thinking I don't want to be around people. So I was starting to decline. Let me just get my breath. So I was yeah, I remember at the time just thinking, I remember at the time I just tried to sort of like put it off and just continue, and I did that for a while, but I didn't have the courage that I've got now. I was quite scared to be vulnerable. Isn't that weird that I'd shared my story all around the world, I'd helped people, but still part of me felt like I'm holding back here with myself and everyone. I'm not being vulnerable, right? And people would say to me like, what are you talking about? You're really honest, and something's not right. I'm not being myself. It doesn't feel right at a certain point. So obviously a lot of my issues I didn't address, and now I don't regret what happened to me. It's been life-changing, but at the time I'm trying to work out what's going on. My girlfriend at the time, she didn't know what was going on. She's just like, oh, you just overthink too much. You're too psychological. Like, just chill out, have a coffee, relax. Like, just get on with it, type of thing. So shortly after that, I think I started to find. I think it was London Real. I started to watch that show London Real, and I loved it. You know. With Brian Rose, and I started to watch other successful people, and it helped me a lot, because I had to connect with people that were successful, but who were probably more successful than me, and they had some more answers that I didn't have, you know, and that made me feel not as lonely, right? And then I remember just thinking, do you know what, like, I kind of feel like I don't have any friends. And if I said it to my girlfriend, she'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, you've got loads of friends, like a lot of people like you. And I remember just thinking, like, I don't have any real friends. Like I had more friends growing up. Like, when I was younger and I was poor, like, I had genuine friends, like, and I kind of preferred myself better. It was just really confusing. I was like, what is going on here? And I remember thinking, like, you know, and I don't mean this in a rude way to anybody, but like, my fans are not my friends, because, you know, they're fans, I appreciate it, but they don't know me. Obviously, when you're a fan of someone, like I like people, most people are a fan, you know, you've got an idea of someone and you fall in love with the idea, and you love the fact that they're giving you something, right? And I'm not knocking anyone, we're all guilty of that. So I was like, well, even though they love me, they don't know me. Like, they don't know me like my mum knows me, or like my girlfriend knows me, or my friends. So there was an emptiness, there was a darkness, there was an emptiness. Now, of course, I had many clients that I loved, and some of them were like friends, not all of them obviously, because, you know, I'm not going to have that relationship with every single client. It's just not realistic. So I just felt like I'm on my own, like I'm lonely, like I need to meet other people that I can relate to, other people that are successful, kind of like the way I am, so maybe I can talk to them about how I'm feeling and not feel judged, and get some understanding as to what am I going through, why am I feeling like this, when these are all the things that I wanted in my life. And I just feel like I started to actually feel worthless. Isn't that crazy? But my ego would rationalize it and say, but you're not worthless, you're successful, you know, you're this, you're that. But I'd say, no, but I don't feel like that deep down. I feel worthless, I feel like I'm not good enough. And then I'd be battling with like my mind, and the facts were, well, I am good enough, because look what I've achieved. I still didn't feel good enough. And I just remember thinking, no amount of money that I make is going to make me feel good enough. And that was like, what is going on here? Then I remember thinking, no amount of YouTube videos is going to make me feel good enough, because I've already got viral videos, and it's not making me happy. If I'm being honest, the thing that made me the most happy, it lasted the longest, and I'm not just saying this, you know, it's true, was the satisfaction of helping someone, you know, a client, or, you know, someone like when I was in a better state, someone saying, "Oh, you've changed my life," or "You mean a lot to me," that would really make me feel good. But all the other stuff, I knew deep down it's not working. It's not working. You know, I've got thousands of views on a video, and I remember with my friend, cameraman, and a good friend of mine. You know, we were just putting videos out, and it got to a stage where I was like, this don't feel healthy. This is like an addiction. This doesn't feel right anymore. Like my life's not right. Something needs to change. So I was trapped. You know, the success, the pressure, the fame. I just wanted to go back. I just didn't want to do it no more. But I was afraid to let go of it because I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like I don't have any qualifications. I'm not gonna work for someone and them telling me what to do. I like to be my own boss, but I don't want to do this no more, and I don't want to be this person anymore. And I just feel like deleting my YouTube channel. I just want to get away. I just want to move country and get away and just be happy and just be normal again. So I got stuck, you know. I really did get stuck, and I think I felt pressure in even with my girlfriend at the time. I felt pressure, you know, with everybody. I put the pressure on myself, and it got to a stage where I didn't enjoy it anymore. I didn't enjoy doing the dating, the relationship coaching, and I didn't even want to date anymore, and I just got sick of it. And that's when that's where I started to get more spiritual, and I started to follow other people that were on a different journey, and I was searching for answers, trying to figure out who I was, why I wasn't happy, and why things have changed. And you know, as I said, I'm a deep person. I've always been hungry for the truth, and if something's not right, at some point I'm going to say this isn't the truth. It don't feel right for me. So that went on for a while, for a few years, and then where was I? I eventually started getting mentally unwell. This is when I started to. I think it was about 2015. A lot of you noticed it. People started to notice it and say, you know, you're right. You know, people started to say you don't seem right. I didn't know it. Obviously, my family saw it. They were concerned. In my videos, you could see that I weren't well. Something weren't right, and I didn't notice it at the start. And I remember even at the time, my girlfriend didn't notice it. And I remember saying to her one day, she really freaked her out. I was getting basically I started to get mentorship. I discovered Jeff Thompson, and I love Jeff's story. I saw it on London Real, and I thought I need to get his help. You know, I need to get his mentorship. So I started working with Jeff, trying to figure out what was happening to me. And then I remember coming back one day, and I felt like I was just dying. I was breaking down, and I came home. I said to met my girlfriend at the time. I said to her, I said, I don't know who I am. She was like, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know who I am. I feel like I'm dying. And I remember her taking me to Wagamama's in West End. We went to Wagamama's, and I remember just feeling nervous and stressed and just saying, like, please, like, I don't want to be around groups of people. There was a lot of people in the restaurant, and she was like, she didn't understand what was going on. She didn't really have the patience. So she was getting a bit frustrated, and I was getting frustrated because I was thinking, I'm really stressed. Like, I feel like I'm on the verge of some sort of breakdown, and I've got this like feeling that I don't know who I am anymore, and I don't want to go on like living this way. She didn't get it, freaked her out. So obviously, eventually we separated. It didn't work out anymore, and I continued on. I went on what I'd call it was a spiritual journey. I was searching spiritually, and I think I was more like thinking, I wanted to grow spiritually, and you know, find out who I was, etc. So I know I've gone on a tangent. So eventually, Jeff helped me a lot. I've done a lot of work with Jeff Thompson, a lot of therapy, a lot of coaching and counselling. I started to realise that, you know, I hadn't dealt with a lot of stuff from my past, and that was what was causing me a lot of pain. Sorry, it's a bit noisy. Just give me a sec, guys. I'm going to get another coffee. Just need to get another coffee. This talk's making me knackered. Yeah, there's a lot of loneliness of men. I'm going to speak on that soon. I'm raising a lot of awareness on that. We'll get to that in a second. There's a lot I've got to get through. As I said, my story's really long, so that's why I've got to break it up into different sections because there's a lot to share. I know a lot of people will get a lot from this. I feel great sharing this because there's so much wisdom and experience, and a lot of my experiences are also things that I've learned from other people, life lessons, ups, downs, so much lessons. Let me just get a coffee, guys. Hopefully, if anyone tries to steal my phone, tell them to get away, all right? 1 second. They're lovely here, man. They're just they're so bloody accommodating. Actually, I'm going on these tangents. So where was I? Where are we up to speed now? So I've covered the mental health breakdown. We're going on. I have to time travel. There's a lot to share. You know what? Sorry, man. I haven't really been answering the questions. I always answer the questions, but I need to get this story out. I try and answer more questions, and this is the 3rd live stream I've done today. I've actually set a goal at some point. I want to, it's funny, one of you used to make a joke. I actually want to try and do a world record for the longest live stream I've done. But the only problem is my battery always runs out after 2 hours because I'm doing this kind of mental toughness challenge at the moment that I'm loving at the moment. I want to share it with more people. So I'm kind of like, anything that I do that I love, that helps people, that I enjoy, I'm trying to do it longer, if that makes sense. So when I go on runs, the longest I've run for is 2 hours. No, sorry, that was incorrect. That wasn't true. Almost 2 hours. So I want to build up my running, and I want to do a live stream that is like, I want to do like a 5-8 hour live stream, so I can really get a lot out. Good to see you, Owen. How you doing, my friend? What country are you in, Johnny? It's 10 p.m. here in UK. Yeah, I'm in the UK. Just waiting for my coffee. So where was I? Just a sec. I've had about 4 coffees today. So yeah, more now. So I've covered when I became successful as an entrepreneur, dating, relationship, etc. Loved that for a while. Didn't enjoy it anymore. Didn't enjoy being famous. Started getting lost, was trying to find answers spiritually, got helped a lot by Jeff. He helped me a lot. Then I had a mental health breakdown. I was starting to decline, so I think look, everyone's different, but maybe when you say mental health breakdown, people think that you're normal, and then all of a sudden one day you just break down, and it wasn't like that for me. It was a slow decline. That's good to hear, man. Good to hear. By the way, you guys and girls are welcome to leave questions. I'll just go in and out of tangents. So where was I? Sorry. So I've lost my train of thought now. I've been up early in the morning, by the way, and I've been working hard all day and training. It's been a great day. So yeah, from about 2015. That's when I started to get mentally unwell. It was a very slow decline. Like, people wouldn't notice it straight away. And by the time it got to 2017, that was when I just was falling apart. Like, I weren't myself. I was really unwell. I've got some funny stories at some point, and I can laugh about it now. It doesn't offend me, and that's another story. So yeah, so after all this searching, I end up in a mental hospital, and so I've got a copy of the Bible. I've gone back to my cell where they put me. A very nice man who worked on reception, he gave me a copy. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not well read on the Bible. Didn't read it much as a kid growing up. From being honest, I was quite scared and intimidated of the literature, and I just preferred to pray whenever I felt like it and I needed to. And as I said, my family are pretty easygoing Christians, but they're not pushy and friends. So yeah, I got a copy. They gave me. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. So they gave me a copy of the King James's Bible, which I think is a simplified version anyway. The first thing that I didn't know all the chapters, I knew some of the stories, but I remember just thinking I need to find a chapter on how to overcome fear, like fears, demons, anxieties. I need something quick to find peace and to relax me, because bearing in mind, you know, now the levels of anxiety that I was experiencing were abnormal. Like I thought I was going to die. I was like, I can't cope. So I'm suffering with high levels of anxiety that are not normal. Like we all get normal anxiety, and that's completely normal, healthy amounts, you know, from day-to-day life or when we get triggered or nervous. This is a level that was just abnormal. So I've got all this anxiety, and I've got these horrible intrusive thoughts that are, you know, scaring me and threatening me, and they're not making sense. So I'm trying to find something that's going to calm these demons down, these anxieties, whatever they are. So I remember holding it and still feeling like terrified, and I opened it and I started reading, and look, it made me feel a bit better. Anyway, it doesn't stop there. A couple of days in, that's great. Sure. So I think it was, I think about 2 days in hospital, I finally admitted to myself and realised, because I wouldn't take medication straight away, like I was really against it. And I remember thinking, if they try and force me to take medication, I'm going to spit it out. I'm not taking it. I didn't like medication, and I didn't trust it. And I really appreciated that they didn't force me, or, you know, I was thinking, I hope they don't all, you know, pin me down and jab me with an injection, because I know that they do that sometimes. But they didn't do that. They were nice to me, and they were just like, it's fine. Like they said, we recommend that you take it. I said, please, like you're frightening me. I really don't want to take medication. I'm scared to take it. And then they were like, that's no problem. Like, Jonathan, you don't have to take it. And then that made me trust the people a bit more, because I was very paranoid, as you can imagine. So after about 2 days, I felt a bit safer. They moved me from the cell because I was at the front of reception. I remember thinking, why are they moving me? I was scared, and they were like, oh, like we've basically got to move you because the first cell is a temporary accommodation. It's basically when you first get put in hospital, in this mental hospital, the first new person that comes in basically gets put in this cell, and then when you're there a bit longer, they put you to a permanent one. So basically, I've gone down this corridor. There's a tea room where you can sit and watch TV, and you know all the other patients are there. And then there was a long corridor, and I'm not joking, guys and girls. It scared the crap out of me because you watch a lot of horror movies growing up, and basically it's a dark corridor, and my room is like right at the end, and I'm thinking, oh man, like I hope this place ain't haunted. Like my mind's just going overboard. I'm thinking, I hope there's no spirits or ghosts in here. Too many movies. So they brought me down to the cell. Obviously there's other people next to me, and I've gone in this room and I just felt, oh man, I felt depressed again. There was no TV. This is true, right? I actually feel good sharing this, which means I need to get this out. It's a blessing, thank God. So there's a little bed, there's a cupboard, there's no TV, and there's basically there's bars on the window. I'm like, man, this feels like I'm in a movie. So oh, my coffee's coming, just a sec, guys. Thank you, love. Cheers.
No worries.
Cheers. That's lovely. So basically, yeah, I'm just trying to describe the cell to you guys. I'll give you a bit of a picture of what it was like. Oh, that's lovely, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
And again, just in case.
Oh man, you're tempting me another. I can't resist the biscuit, man. Thank you, man. You know what, guys, man? You know, even with all my discipline, sometimes you got to break it. Moderation is okay. These are lovely. Let me just share this with people, right? I mean this, and I don't mind whatever people think. I'm beyond that. In 2017, I'm living in a mental hospital. I've got no money in my account. I've got no savings. I've spent everything. I am unwell. I thought my life is over. I'm now in one of the best hotels in the world. I'm drinking coffee. The biscuit tastes great. I'm with you guys and girls. Look, I'm not going to lie, my life is not perfect, but I'm grateful. We've all got challenges, you know. My best friend recently died, so I'm dealing with that, but I'm very grateful. How on earth am I here? If this can't inspire people and all of us, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. So I don't know how I got here. How did I go from being in a mental hospital in 2017? Forget social anxiety. I can't speak. Like I'm unwell. I'm on medication. You know, even the doctors and the workers like were concerned about me. They didn't know what was wrong. And now I'm in this place. I'm grateful. I'm peaceful. The people are lovely, and I'm humbled. And I want to make a point of saying, right? For me, I don't care about celebrities, being famous, money, rich, poor. I really don't care about that stuff. I just want to be grateful, just be peaceful and be happy and do the best I can in my life. So that's humility, that's being humbled. And when you get smashed to pieces, and I mean this in a healthy way, it's hard to explain, I'm not afraid to come into a place like this. I don't feel like I'm not good enough, and I know I'm not better than anyone. So it's a freeing feeling. I'm in this place and I'm going, and I know I used to come here a few years ago. Yeah, the place is absolutely beautiful. It's a dream come true. When I was younger, I couldn't come in these places because the mindset was, we're poor, this is rich, I'm not good enough, I'm ashamed, they're going to kick me out. It's not true. If you've got good manners and you're kind in yourself, you can go anywhere. Now, I can go back to my estate, I can go to KFC, I can go anywhere in the world and I can have gratitude because I've been broken, I've been rock bottom, right? It's not a sub story, this is the truth. And I've been on top of the world and I've been around good people and I've had a good life, and my life at times has been a living hell. Like I'm sure all of you are going to relate. So I want to inspire all of you, inspire me. So I don't understand everything about life and I don't understand everything about my faith, but all I know is appreciate life, never give up, because you don't know. Now, can you imagine in 2017, even though I'm broken, I'm still saying to the doctors, I'm going to come back. And this is a funny story, this is true. Obviously, a lot of the things I was saying were delusional, because I was, what's the right word? What's the word when someone is going through, when someone's unwell and they're seeing things that are not actually there? What's the word again? What is that word? Help me out, guys. Hold on, some coffee. So, yeah, basically I was having delusions, right? I'm seeing things, I'm paranoid. So when the doctors were asking me, because I didn't know about my life, when I said, and I guess it was a little bit of ego because I felt they were all judging me. I'm broken down, I'm in this room every week, I've got to go to these meetings in hospital, they're analysing me, they're looking at me, and I'm feeling really judged, right? Funny story actually as well. My mum comes in hospital, right, to check up on me, to see me. And this one doctor, man, I wanted to rip his head off, right? He got me angry, right? Because I'm still unwell, and the guy's being rude to me. You know what he said to me? This is a funny story, right? I can let it go now. He was one of the doctors there. Like, he starts shouting at me, basically belittling me in front of my mum and all the people. He's like, Jonathan, you are sick. I can't, like he was, I actually love accents. I love the South African accent, but I remember him saying to me, your mother is right. And he basically just shouted at me. He started talking to me like he's my dad. I'm 34 years of age, and my ego didn't like it. I remember thinking, who are you talking to? Like, how dare you talk to me like that? And he was basically saying to me, like, you're sick, you've had a psychotic episode, like, you're not psychotic, we haven't got a diagnosis, but you've had an episode, and basically, you need to be in it. I'm trying to fight my case that please let me out, like, I'm okay. This is about 2 weeks in. He basically starts shouting at me, and then I think I said to him, like, I was a bit scared because I was vulnerable, and obviously I was thinking, if I start shouting back, they're just going to section me, not going to let me out. But I think I said to him, like, hey man, like, be careful who you, like, don't talk to me like that. And then he was like, he was just basically like, he was a bit aggressive, if I'm being honest. I think he was a bit of a bully, but anyway, listen, I could be wrong. Bless him anyway, or forgiveness. But, so, he's shouting at me. Yeah, I'm in an institute now. So, I said to him, he goes, when he calmed down, like, He said, what did you do before? And I said, I was a successful, I was a famous successful dating coach. I said, go on YouTube, you'll see my videos. I was successful. I help people around the world. And all the doctors in the room, they were all like that. I knew it. I knew that they think I'm lying. They think I'm making it up, because obviously a lot of the other stuff I said was made up, you know. I thought like things were coming to get me and kill me, spirits. One of the doctors said, your mum told us that you believe that there's foxes that have got bad spirits that are following you. Is that true? And I was like, is this a trick question? And my mum was like, tell the truth. That's what you told me. I was like, I tried to deny it, and then I just believed that when I weren't well. It's funny. So they didn't believe what I was saying. Well, I understand they're doctors, and I'm not well. And when people are not well, they often say things that are not true. But it was true. So listen to this, yeah? He doesn't believe me. The doctors don't believe me. They think I'm crazy. Because I'm saying to them, I'm going to get well. I'm going to go back to work and continue teaching. And he was like, whoa, slow down. I said, no, I'm going to start teaching again. He's like, no, he goes, you're not ready. Like, he goes, you have to, he's like, slow down. I said, no, I said, you don't understand. Because I'm feeling quite judged. I am being judged. So the ego never gives up. So I'm just like, no, don't belittle me. All of you are judging me. You're all looking down on me. You all think I'm just a crazy patient who's lost his mind. You don't know my spirit. My spirit don't give up. I'm not quitting. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to help people. I'm laughing. It's funny. So the look on their faces is like, he's just lost his mind. Anyway, listen to the story. A few days later, one of the doctors comes to me. She comes to speak to me. She's like, I went online. We saw your videos. You were right. I said, I was telling the truth. I told you didn't believe me. So they saw my videos online. So they knew that I was telling the truth about, basically that I had a great life. I wasn't always crazy. That's what they think about me. Fair enough. I can handle that. I can handle it. So I think that's when they started to realize that actually there might be some hope, like, delusional. Well, you must be delusional to be on my live stream. But listen, I forgive you, man. So basically, after I continued praying, and this is when I had this experience with God. I found my faith. I was reading the Bible. I was laying down in the cell. It was late. I was going over certain chapters. I can't remember the chapters. It was 6 years ago. And I remember reading about peace, about and something. It wasn't a voice in my head. Could have been, I'm not. Nothing's 100%, but I had a feeling. I had an impression when I was reading the Bible. Something told me that things are going to be okay. But something told me to give up and stop fighting. Now, it wasn't like a voice. I didn't hear. I was hearing voices, but it wasn't the intrusive thoughts. It was a feeling. It was an impression. Now, bearing in mind, you've got to remember, I can accept that you're delusional. That's why you're on my live stream, being nasty. It's easy to say things on a stream, but listen, man, I'm going to say this. I love you. I don't know you. Whatever you're going through, I wish you the best, man, in Jesus' name. It's all good. I love criticism. You know why I love criticism? Because criticism made me change my life. It made me stop being afraid of people that are weak, that don't have any guts, that like to be nasty to other people. And it also made me appreciate people. And I love you too, man, whoever you are. You might be a friend that's jealous, that hasn't got the courage to say it to my face. You might just be a good soul. Listen, man, I got to forgive you. I've criticized myself in my life. We're all a work in progress. But at the same time, I don't let anyone bully me. I'm not scared of people's nastiness. And I wish you the best, man. Yeah. Anyway, so when I was reading the Bible, I got an impression, and it told me, Jonathan, give up fighting, and it didn't mean give up as in just give up on life, and it wasn't like that. It was like give up, let me handle it, and that's when I realized that my whole life's going to change. I'm never going to be the same person that I was before. Now, of course, I can't speak for everyone, right? Everyone's got their own experiences, and I respect that. But it wasn't like, oh, I read a bit of the Bible now, I had a realization from God, and all of a sudden I've changed. It's like, no, this is going to be a long process, you know, and this is a process that I'm still going through. But it gave me hope. And honestly, my terrifying fear of it just went. It went, and I didn't have that fear that, you know, they're going to harm me in hospital, or these spirits that I'm thinking are going to kill me. I'm gonna be all right. I'm going to make it, but I'm going to have to go through a lot of changes. And that's when I decided I'm going to accept the help. I'm actually going to admit to the doctors and that I am unwell. And I realized that I'm really unwell. I'm really sick, and I deserve to finally get the help. So forget all this, you know, forget about being a teacher and successful. I'm nobody, and I felt good. I'm going to, you know, get the help. So I was getting stronger spiritually, and then I just felt that things are going to change, but it isn't going to be easy. And I really mean this from my heart, this for anyone. I was actually happy and content in the mental hospital. I didn't need any money. I didn't mind about not being famous. I didn't mind, I generally didn't care if people judged me, if they made fun of me, if they laughed at me. I've been to hell and back. I actually was almost like, everything was like, thank you so much. I had so much peace. On top of course, I was still unwell, but there was a lot of peace in me. It's crazy, I can't explain it. So I continued to read it, and you know, that was the impression I got. Give up, surrender, it's going to work out, you know, trust in me. You don't have to know all the answers, and that was the process. I started to get help from the doctors. I got the therapy. I actually decided to take the medication. It helped me, it calmed me down, and I just started to settle in, and it was I was all right. Now obviously I didn't want to be there forever, but I settled in, started to drive the you know, both the male and female nurses mad, because I kept saying to them, when are you going to let me out? And they you know, they would laugh. They liked me. I made some friends in there. People were lovely in there, and my whole judgment to myself around mental health and other people completely went. I just had so much compassion for human beings and for myself, and I really appreciated that, the suffering that people go through. And yeah, it's hard to explain. I'm using words, but I just felt, I can't explain it. I felt normal again. I had no pressure. I didn't have to be anyone, and I didn't have to make money. I didn't have to be confident with women or people. I just had to be vulnerable, and just I could finally just admit and go, yeah, this is me. I'm struggling. I've got a mental health problem. Life's broken me down. I found God, I found faith, that there's no pressure. I'm not a perfect Christian, I'm not claiming to be, I'm not preaching on other people, but this is what I was kind of looking for. I was trying to find my way back to something deeper. And I remember just thinking about my nan a lot in hospital, because I always loved my nan. And I remember just thinking, I'm just grateful to be alive. And like, yeah, met a friend in there, a lovely guy. I wish I stayed in touch with him. I feel sad about that. And he was, we just connected, you know, we just got on, you know, and he was saying to me that he was struggling with hearing voices as well, like me. And it was funny, like, he would just, we'd just both be laughing. He'd said it, like, it was weird. I made a friend in there. It was like being back at school, and we'd laugh, you know, we'd have a chat. It's hard to explain. I don't want to appreciate that. Thank you. I hope a lot of you are getting a lot out of this. And listen, none of you owe me anything, right? But if you could do anything, I can't make you, because I appreciate it. If you lot could just appreciate the courage that it's taken me to share this story, and to go through what I went through, to come back to help other people, that would mean a lot to me. I don't want anything else. I don't care about subscribers and the likes, and it would mean so much to me that if this helps a lot of people, and I know it will. And I made a promise when I was in hospital. I said to God when I was praying, I promise you, I'm not asking for all the other stuff that I wanted, but if you bring me back and bring me back to being mentally well again, I promise you, I swear, I just said, I swear to God, I swear to you, God, I swear to Jesus, I'll share my story. And I can't do any more than that. And I'm not a miracle worker, I'm just a human being. and I'm certainly not perfect. And I know we always say that, but I'm not. But I'll share my story, and I kept my word. I'm a man of my word. I try to be. And that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue doing it. And this gives me the best feeling in the world. Money can't buy this. There's nothing that can give me this feeling of sharing my story, because I know it's the right thing to do. I feel it. So in hospital, I was broken down. I was stripped down to the bare minimum of a human being who has got nothing in his life, but then he's got everything. And do you know what was important to me, guys and girls? I mean this. The only things that are important to me was how much I loved my nan. Get emotional. Even though I was a bit upset with my family, but how much I loved my family, how much I loved God, even though I don't understand all of it, how much I loved most of you. I say most, I don't mean to leave anyone out. Obviously, I've had some haters over the years and people be nasty, but that's life. I expect that, so no hate. The love that I had, it was quite painful. So I was humbled, as you could hear, and grateful to be brought back to reality and whatever, and to be just to feel safe again, normal again, and to have some peace, and just to feel that there's hope, which there is for anyone listening. So it made me appreciate things, man. And I didn't have loads of people helping me, because when you're in a bad situation, and I'm not moaning, this is life, you don't have that many friends. You realize who your true friends are, right? And that's a story for another live stream. But the people that come out and help me were just amazing. So a couple of friends helped me, who I'm forever grateful for. They know who they are. And my faith, I've got to say that my mum and dad were great. They came into hospital and seen me. It wasn't easy for them, but not many people did. I've got to be honest. Many family members disappointed me. They didn't come and see me, but that's life, and I was a bit upset by that. But gratitude for everything. And obviously a lot of you didn't know, so I'm not saying none of you come and see me. I'm not expecting that, because a lot of you didn't know, and I didn't really at the time wasn't really thinking of telling everyone. So yeah, I got a lot of help. A lot of good people helped me, and that's what kept me alive. So it's not just like I read the Bible and then God just fixed all my problems. It was like he did do that, but it was a bit more, there was a lot of human help that helped me as well. So I couldn't have got it, I couldn't have done it, and that was one of the things I've been saying lately, which is true. And it's I feel great saying it, and it's true, and trying to find the right words. And this is the story that I want to share to as many people as I can. The only thing that got me through that was being weak and vulnerable. Being strong didn't get me through it, if that makes sense, because I tried to be strong all my life, and eventually it just led me to a very, very dark place. So of course, I guess I'm speaking on, trying to be tough all the time. That didn't work, and ego and all that thing, it didn't work in that situation. Humility, faith, being desperate, surrendering. So being vulnerable and giving up, and then asking for help, gave me so much strength. But all my strength come from the faith, because without the faith, I couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have made it. And I know a lot of you are going to say, what do you mean by that? I wouldn't have taken my own life, because I actually didn't want to die, but I couldn't have got through it. So I don't know if I'd still be in hospital, if I'd be on medication for the rest of my life, or I'd never be able to work again, pay my rent again, taxes, etc. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't. I wasn't strong enough. I couldn't do it. It was too overwhelming. So that saying that St. Paul says a saying that was quite relevant at the time, and St. Paul said, when I'm at my most vulnerable, I'm at my strongest. When I'm my most meekest, and that's what happened to me. So the strength was from sheer insecurity and fear and so forth, and good people helping me. So that's how I got through it. So I was in hospital for about 6 weeks, and after 3 weeks, this kind of makes me sad and happy. when they were starting to think about letting me out, you know, because they assess you every week. They have a meeting and they kind of ask you questions and they do a report on you. I didn't even realize this, right? Till there was so many lovely people in there. God, I've got so many good memories, man. This is a blessing. Thank you so much for everyone for listening. This means a lot. So there were a lot of different workers in there. There were some people that had mental health problems and had overcome it, and then they were working in the hospital. And I remember one younger guy, and I remember him saying to me, like, he gave me some encouragement. I mean, so you never forget when people help you. And he said to me, like, I remember saying to him, like, can I get better? Like, because I was starting to improve a little bit. And he goes, you can. And he was sharing his story. Like, he got better, basically. He had a mental health problem. He said he still had a mental health problem, but he overcame it, and he helps people, and he goes into the hospital and helps out. And I remember him just saying to me, like, it's not going to be easy, but you will get better. Like, just get the help, take one day at a time. So, you know, good people give you hope. So when it comes to the end, I didn't want to leave. I was like sad to leave because I got used to it there. I made friends there, and I felt quite scared about coming back out to the real world and you know, just kind of facing life again. So I wanted to get out. I was so happy that they were going to release me, but a part of me, I got used to it. It's crazy, isn't it? And I've heard that before, where people go to prison and they don't want to go to prison, and some, not saying all, and I've had friends that have been to prison, and I've, you know, learned a lot from people, and they've said that if they've done a few years in prison, when they're about to get let out, they don't want to get out because they get institutionalized, they get used to it, they make friends, and they get scared to go back out. And I experienced some of that as well. So yeah, also in hospital as well, I just want to let people know this, I could go out. So obviously I had to come back, like I could go out for a certain amount of hours, and that's kind of when I really started to appreciate coffee. I'd go to St. James's Park, and my mentor, Jeff, mentored me there. He mentored me all the way up until I went to hospital. I appreciate what he done for me. Thanks, Jeff. So yeah, I'd go out for a few hours on my own. I'd get a coffee, I'd go Victoria, I'd walk around the park. I think I even went to Chinatown a few times, and that would give me a little bit of a sense of freedom. And I just, obviously I still wasn't very well, but I was well enough that they'd let out, and that made me feel good, because some people there's different types of sections. Obviously there were some sections that were more serious than mine, where you can't go out, like your section the whole day. You need, like, basically you need to be taken out by one of the support workers. You're not well enough to go out, and lucky I wasn't under that section. So I was under like a less severe section, but it was still a section. Like, if I didn't come back, then, you know, I'm laughing, there'll be like a warrant out for me. I'll be like a fugitive, and then they would probably put me on a serious section. So I remember them saying to me, like, we're letting you out, but if you don't come back, then, you know, it's not going to be good. And I was always okay with that. I always came back on time. So yeah, that helped me a lot on my healing. I did a lot of processing, a lot of sitting down, getting coffee, and I was really grateful for that, you know. So, you know, it made me appreciate life. The things that I used to take for granted, as we all do, we're only human. I appreciated them. I appreciated a cup of coffee. I appreciated having £10 to buy a flapjack or a Chinese meal or food. I appreciated any moment that I got of peace, any moment without the anxiety and the intrusive thoughts. I just appreciated it. I really did. And that's probably why a lot of my teaching now, I talk about gratitude. And it's not fake gratitude. You know, sometimes we've all done it. We're human. We go, yeah, I'm grateful. Or, yeah, I'm practicing gratitude. Yeah, every day I wake up and I thank, you know, for what this is real gratitude. This is like when you've been terrified, you think you're dying, you think that your life's over, and then, you know, you get help, you come back, you find your faith, you find hope in people, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I just appreciated simple things, like, you know, just having a friend. I had some really good friend of mine, some good friends that I, you know, got close with and I could talk with, and it was just nice to be able to, like I said, be a nobody again, but to feel actually, it was weird, isn't it? I know it sounds crazy. When I was successful, at the start, I felt amazing, obviously, because I was young, and it was ego as well. I'm not going to deny that. Maybe not all of it, And I felt on top of the world because I finally got to where I wanted to get to. And then I broke down and felt worthless and hopeless and not good enough. So you'd think that someone who's had a breakdown and lost everything would feel worthless, unlovable, shamed and hopeless, but I didn't feel like that. After a couple of days in hospital, I actually felt, what's the right word? I felt better about myself. I felt like I could do anything, because I just did, because it was like I got nothing to lose. Like, I can't believe that I'm actually going to get well. They're going to let me out, and I found God again. Like I couldn't understand all of it. If that makes sense. So I was like, whatever. Like, there's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose, and I just couldn't wait to get out and share my story. And I didn't even, if I'm being honest, I didn't even care if people laughed at me. Like, I didn't mind. I didn't care. Like, I'll accept that. I don't care, because I've been to hell and back. So if people laugh, if they want to talk to me about it, if they want to hear the story, if they want to share their mental health problems with me, I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to judge them at all. I'm going to respect them, because I've been through it. So it was weird. It was like, I suppose it was a spiritual awakening and a mental health breakdown. And in that 6 weeks, I got to examine my whole life, all the things that I wasn't happy about, all the mistakes that I made that I weren't proud of, all the things that I was proud of, all the things, people that I loved, obviously things that I didn't like. It was a whole life examination, and I didn't think like I'm going to sit here and do that. It just happened naturally. So I did a lot of reflecting, because I had a lot of time on my hands. Every single day. Obviously, I wasn't working. So I time traveled during that experience, and it was like, I remember thinking, now I understand because I remember thinking, I understand now what people say when they've gone through some sort of identity crisis, especially people that have come from like an insecure place, become successful, and then had a breakdown or near-death experience or a spiritual awakening, or they found God, or I just could relate, and I could even process my best friend growing up, who I absolutely love. I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to say his name. Doesn't feel right, but he got mentally unwell, and really unwell, and he never recovered. Right? He was an amazing friend of mine. I still love him really hard. So I used to go. Before I got unwell, I forgot to mention this. God, my life, so many things. I must be getting old. I used to go and see him, and he was on medication. He'd been in and out of mental hospitals, but most of the time he was in his house, and I'd go and spend time with him, try to help him. But then he got really unwell, and he got really sick, and sad to say it, but he got on drugs, and I couldn't. He didn't want me around, or his family. So, I've seen a lot what this can do. So I've thought about him a lot, and weird thing was, in hospital, I met someone in hospital who knew my friend. It was weird. It was weird. Weird things would happen. These weird coincidences would happen in hospital. So it was like a time travel. I'm really grateful for the experience, as I said, and that's why there's a lot. Appreciate that. So yeah, I can relate to a lot of people. So where was I now? Man, I'm exhausted from doing this talk. You guys must be tired as well, and girls. So yeah, another funny story. I got all these stories, which is true. This is not a joke. It's hilarious. So listen to this here. What are the chances of this? A couple of weeks in hospital, there was basically a computer room. This is not a joke. Although you can laugh, it is funny. So I'm in the computer room, and I wanted to get access to the internet. I wanted to actually go on YouTube, and I wanted to look at my YouTube channel, because I hadn't, I was thinking, like, everyone's going to be thinking, like, what's happened to him? Where's he gone? There's no videos. And I wanted to go on YouTube and just listen to some music entertainment, because we didn't have internet in the rooms. There wasn't any Wi-Fi on my phone, so you could only get it on the computer, in the computer room, and there was only 2 computers. So I'm on this computer now, and there's a guy next to me. He's quite big. He's quite he's kind of heavy, and I don't know who he is. And obviously I don't know him. And all of a sudden I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, he looks familiar. Where do I know him from? But I'm a bit like, obviously when you're not well, everyone's a bit like that. you're not feeling that confident, obviously, right? I'm a little bit shy and nervous because you don't want to upset people, because you don't know how people are feeling and you don't know how they're going to react. So anyway, so he's on the computer and I'm on the computer. Anyway, I come off the computer for a break, and I'm sitting down on this table and he's on it. Now he turns around like that slowly and he's just staring at me. And when he's staring at me, it's freaking me out, right? And I was freaking a lot of people out as well, because a lot of the times when you're not well and you're mentally unwell, you do stare at people a lot. And I did that to a lot of people. And I'm sorry to the people that I freaked out, but I weren't well. So when you're kind of unwell, you've got quite an intense stare. So he was just staring at me like that. And I felt awkward, obviously. I'm like, is he going to start hitting me? What's going to happen? What's he going to do? He's not saying nothing. And all of a sudden, this is hilarious, he just starts bursting out laughing. Like he's hysterically laughing. And it starts to make me laugh. And he's like, he says my name. He's like, Jonathan. I'm like, how does he know my name? I said, how do you know? I said, I'm not going to say his name online. And I recognize him. I'm like, okay, let me just make a name up. Let me just say, for example, I don't want to say his real name just in case. I don't think he'll mind, actually. Probably not going to see this live stream, but just in case. Anyway, he says my name. I recognize his face because he's put on a lot of weight. And I say his name and I'm like, and he goes, I recognize him. He's from my area. I grew up with him. He was like, I had good friends and we kind of, not gangs, but we had a little group, and I met another group, and he was like a mutual friend, and I always liked him and got on with him. He was a really, really nice guy, really physically strong. So he was like, what are you doing in here? And I was like, what are you doing in here? And, we both got speaking, and he was like, oh, I've been in there a long time. And then I actually remembered, because when I was well years ago, I remember that he did get mentally unwell. People told me. I remember thinking, what happened to him? Like, he was just like, this happened to a lot of my friends, like such a great guy, like really mentally well, confident, physically strong, just a really nice person, really good guy around my area. And I remember someone telling me that he basically had a mental health breakdown. He got unwell, and he, bless him, I think he ran out of his house. This is a true story, right? I'm not going to say his name. I love the guy a lot, but yeah, basically he ran out of his house naked or something, and obviously parents were concerned. Bless him, he wasn't well, and then he got sectioned. So he put on a lot of weight, so I recognised him, and then he was saying to me, what did he say? He goes to me, because he was hilarious, made me laugh. And this is, I think he said to me, what did he say? He goes, you're like an angel, man. You just come out of nowhere. And I was joking with him. I was like, you're an angel too, man. And he was like, this is hilarious. Like, this makes me laugh. He got up, he's like, it's just hilarious. You can't make this stuff up. It needs to make a movie. He was like, can I get a hug? I was like, yeah, of course we can have a hug, man. I said, you're my mate. So like we hugged. He nearly crushed me because he was big. He put on a lot of weight because of the medication. I was kind of slim when I come in hospital, and we were hugging, like, it's hilarious. And it was nice, we hugged, and then we were talking. And then what did he say after? Then this is actually, I remember he said this, it triggered me after. He said I thought I was an angel. Then he goes to me, I see a lot of fear in you, Jonathan. You got a lot of fear. And I was like, oh. And I was like, I remember thinking, oh no, what's going on? Like, because the way he said it, it scared me. Like, because it was almost like, sometimes when people are not well, there's no small talk. Like, they're not filtering, they're not pleasing you. They're just saying what they feel. So I was like, 1 minute ago you said I was like an angel, which made me feel good. Now you're saying I've got so much fear in me. And I actually remember saying to him, I said, yeah, you're right, I have got a lot of fear in me. I'm very frightened. I've always had a lot of fear in me, so that's true. And then he was like, okay. It was almost like he was testing me to see, and he was just lovely. Another funny story. Sorry, I'm on a tangent here, but this is true. So when I was in hospital, I didn't have any money straight away, right? So obviously there was food in hospital, but I'm not mad on hospital food. And he goes to me, he's lovely, man. What a sweet guy. He goes to me, I think he said to me, yeah, he was telling me that he's buying things online. He was ordering stuff. I was like, can you buy stuff in here? He's like, yeah, they let you do it. So he was ordering stuff on Amazon or somewhere, and then he was like, he goes, I'm going to order a Chinese. And I was like, oh man, I would love to have that. And he's like, have you got any money? And I think I was like, no, I don't have any money. He goes, do you want me to borrow you some money to get some food? And I'm always a bit embarrassed to borrow money from people. Still got that. Maybe not so much now because I've got good friends, but I was like, oh, I appreciate that, man. So he's like, he came out, I think he gave me 20 quid. Now 20 quid's like £1 million when you got no money. So I was like, yes. And I was like, can we order food? So in hospital, I'm laughing, I don't know why, it's making me laugh. You're allowed to order food. So I ordered a Chinese, and I just enjoyed it. He got Chinese. And then when he actually, he said, I'll give you the money. So I remember thinking, like, he's giving me the money as a friend, great. Like, so listen to this, yeah, the next day. So I spoke to him for about 3 hours. We were talking about old times, obviously. Obviously, he's not fully well, I'm not well, but we could still speak. So anyway, he's gone back to his cell, I've gone to my cell. Next morning, I'm hearing boom, boom, boom. Someone's knocking on my door. I'm thinking, who is that? So I open the door, and he's just standing there, and he goes, have you got my money? And I was like, what? I said, I thought you gave it to me. And he went, oh no. He goes, I need the money back. And I was a bit embarrassed. I was like, and I said, I haven't got the money, but I'll pay it back. I'll get the money from my mum. But he just cracked me up, man. What? It's just hilarious. So actually, this is a true story. I appreciate my friend. I had no money in my account. My mum came in a few times. Obviously, I felt bad when I keep taking money from my mum. Obviously, she couldn't afford to keep giving me money, but she gave me like 20 quid here and there, and then I said, that's it. So I went to my account just to see if there was like any money in my account, because the first few days before there was no money in my account. So listen to this, guys. I swear to God, I actually was like, thank God. I've got into my account. I'm thinking there's probably going to be like £8 in there or something. I swear to God, like, you can imagine, bearing in mind, like, I don't have any money, and I'm praying a lot, and like, miracles are happening, things are going well. I've gone into my account expecting there's probably going to be like minus £8. I've put the card in, I've pressed the machine on. I'm literally like, I'm soft, I've started crying. There's £250 in my account. And I actually remember thinking, there must be a God, like, it must exist. Like, where's the money come from? Like, I had no money in my account. I knew I didn't have any money, because I spent all my money. I had no money. And I just remember thinking, where's the money come from? I was like, part of me was going like, it can't, like, I know God's real, it must be, he wouldn't put money in my account there, doesn't it? I was like, am I seeing things? And I remember, like, I don't know if this ever happened to you, I was like, it must be a mistake on the machine. So I've pressed like £50 and the money's come out, and I'm like, I've got £200 left. I feel like a millionaire, because £250 is a lot of money when you ain't got any money, right? And so I've come back, and I'm like, I remember actually thinking, I can't really tell anyone, because if I tell all the people, they're going to think he's gone mad again, he's making things up. But honestly, so I remember just thinking it's a miracle. I remember thinking if someone made a mistake, like, I hope the bank I'm not going to get in trouble, someone's put the money in, or they made a mistake, or they're going to think that I've stolen money, all these thoughts. But anyway, so I gave my friend his money back. And when I come out of hospital, I was with a good friend, and he's lovely, and I said, did you put money in my account? And he's very humble, and he went like that. I said, oh mate, do you know how much that means to me? Like, my friend done that for me. Isn't that a lovely thing? I didn't even ask him. He just did intuition. He just said, I sensed that you didn't have any money, and he's him and his family, him and his brother, got very close, become very close friends. But he liked my stuff on YouTube. He followed me, and he was like, no, you've helped me a lot, and it meant a lot to me, man. I was like, I started crying. That's how much it meant to me. So yeah, that's another story, and yeah, so many stories. Have a look, have a break. So that's why I'm working hard at the moment, doing all the training, guys and girls, because I want to get on more podcast shows to share my story. You know what, right? I'm going to say this. All the critics and all the haters, I love all of you. You're very welcome on my platform. You're very welcome to come on, and you're very welcome to criticize me. Obviously, it's not going to make you feel good, and I'm still going to love you anyway. But you are very welcome to do that. So if we got any critics in the house, appreciate them, honor them, because without critics, you cannot develop humility. You can't be humble. You can't appreciate what you've got. And I've criticised in my life. I don't go online and criticise people. That's not something that I would do. I'm a good person, but at the end of the day, it comes with a territory. As Floyd as Floyd Mayweather would say. And I teach my clients how to deal with critics by not being hateful, not being resentful, but not being afraid of them, and just accepting that that's human nature. When you're successful or when you're honest, even when you're not successful, someone's always got something to say. But as long as you have gratitude, as long as you value yourself and your opinion, and if you can still be kind and loving, then you're doing okay. And so, God gives me the strength to not respond in the way that I used to when I was younger, and I was quite hot-headed, and I'd get angry and I'd get very aggressive if people started criticizing me. I don't want to live like that anymore. Anyway. So yeah, that's why I'm doing a lot of that's my whole life has changed now. So that's why I love running. So when you see me running and saying I love running, it gives me gratitude. It's because I had the mental health breakdown, and because I've been rock bottom and come back. And I love simple things. I love drinking coffee. Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
I'm interrupting.
No, you're not interrupting. That's all right. That's why I can. As I said, I'm not going to sit here and lie and start my life's perfect, because it's not. And when you have a mental health breakdown and you recover, and you find your faith, life doesn't stop then. You've still got challenges, as I said. I lost my. I'm happy at the moment, but I'm going through a lot of suffering. I'm grieving. I lost my best friend to suicide, so I loved him. It means a lot to me, and he's given me the strength to do this talk today. I'm going to celebrate his life. So the challenge. We all go through challenges. All of you are going through challenges. No one escapes challenges. So it's not over. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, he was one of the best friends I had. Do you know what? I wouldn't have met him. I feel a bit emotional, as I would feel. I wouldn't have met him if I didn't go through the mental health breakdown. I got to do another video, but I can't talk about it too much, guys and girls, because I'll start getting emotional. There's nothing wrong with men being emotional. I cry all the time, but now probably isn't the right time. And I get a little bit emotional talking about it. So I'll speak about it at another time. It's been a hard, difficult thing, but at the same time, it's like the experience in hospital. It makes you appreciate life, because tomorrow's not promised. So yeah, I can't speak about it at the moment. It's too upsetting. Let me get the bill here. I didn't even eat today. I'm doing fasting, and I'm hungry, but it feels good. Right, which is that? Okay. I appreciate your kind words there. You know what? If any of you want to get some questions going, let's have some questions, because I've been talking a long time. Do you have any advice for people who have trouble keeping calm in difficult situations? Well, that's a really good question. I could speak on that a lot. There's a lot to say on that. Let me give you some simple advice. I would say exercising. I would say running. I would say if you can start to run consistently and not put pressure on yourself, and just just do a slow run, 30 minutes, a couple of times a week, that will help you to calm down. That's one way that you can learn to keep calm in difficult situations. And I know that maybe you don't want to hear this, a lot of people, and I mean this kindly. Another way is that you've got to face difficult situations, because I know what you're saying, but let me just get this bill. So I'm going to give you some more things, and that's probably the best question that I've been asked in a long time, because we all need to work on that. So exposure therapy is good. Exposure therapy is basically it's basically what I'm doing now. I've done a lot of this where I'm speaking publicly on a live stream. There's a lot of people. There's people around. Just going to get this bill, guys. Thank you.
Pleasure.
can't see it.
Do you need a receipt?
No, that's great. So you're closing the coffee stops at 12, you said?
11:30.
11:30.
Yeah.
And I've got to go over here about 11:30. I've got to leave.
Sure. No, you should not. You should not. You should not. You don't have to leave. The lounge is fine. It's 24/7. It's just we only can serve drinks and whatnot.
I got it. No, that's great. That's great. Thank you. All right, man. I appreciate it. I might get another coffee after. Probably shouldn't. I've had about 4 or 5. But yeah, appreciate it.
There
Thank
are
you.
decafs.
Oh yeah, I could have a decaf. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
This is
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the rolls are lovely. Cheers. All right.
You're
That's
very
awesome.
welcome. Yeah, I like them too.
They're lovely, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just
nice.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're crunchy.
Yeah, I eat in them again.
Yes. They're just they were tough to eat, but I enjoyed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
All
have
right,
to
man.
do the work too. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you feel more grateful for that.
Oh, well, very grateful. They're lovely. Yeah. Lovely. Enjoy your weekend with the day
Thank
off.
you very much.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice
too.
time. All right.
Have
See
a
you
nice
soon.
day. See you soon.
Bye. Public speaking's good. You know, public speaking is terrifying. It's scary for everybody, me included. But if you practice it, Harry, you will get calmer. So yeah, it's kind of like you've got to put yourself in situations which make you scared and make you nervous and anxious, and you've got to learn how to be calm whilst you're feeling nervous, and you can only really do that through practice and exposure. But aside of that, as I said, diet helps, exercising, therapy, you know, all these things work. How do you end a conversation once you're in one? I never know how to leave one. I think you've just got to get used to being a bit awkward. That's really your question. What you're saying to me is, you know, when you're in a conversation with someone, you feel nervous and awkward to leave. But sometimes you've just got to be transparent and vulnerable, and just, you know, let the person see that you're nervous. People don't really mind, even though you might feel a bit embarrassed. And I've learned that because we all get a bit awkward. It doesn't mean that we're not confident. We're human, especially when you're having a good conversation. It still happens to me at times, but you just got to get more acceptant of these little human tendencies, but you've also got to learn to be a bit more confident and assertive as well, and say, like, you know, if you're in a conversation with someone and you want to leave, you can be polite, but you've got to speak up and say, okay, look, I've got to go now, but, you know, thanks for seeing you, have a good day, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, you know, practice is the right word, discipline, which is what I've been teaching on the channel and the new platform, new message. But let me just make a point of saying this, right, to state the obvious, so this will stop people feeling ashamed. Everybody's got anxiety, including me. You know, everyone's got anxiety. It's all about how you deal with it. And as I said before, this is something that I want to explain. You know, even with me overcoming a mental health breakdown, and I'm stronger than I've ever been, and I'm vulnerable as well, of course, but I'm in a better place than I've ever been. But I've still got anxiety. I'm human, but I deal with it better than I used to, and I'm able to live a better life and control it. And some areas it goes, you just got to accept it, and then you got to, I'll speak more on the channel about it, you know, because everyone's got it. So it's not really about, well, this is something that I believe in. We can't just go on the premise that, okay, I've got anxiety. I understand that, and if you've got it really bad, then you've got to get professional help, right? Or from a mentor, whoever, or you need to do something about it so you can bring the levels down, and then you can live your life more. But, you know, a certain amount of anxiety, everyone's got that. So you could say, no, we've all got anxiety, we've all got fears, we all worry, we're all human, you know, we all overthink, we all care what people think from time to time, we all worry about the future. But what are you going to do about it? Are you going to live your whole life in worry and anxiety, or are you going to be brave? And that's my message, and that's what I practice every day. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Is it challenging and scary? Yes, it is, but there's a lot of joy in it. Some days it's easy. So, you know, it's anxiety and fear is a challenge that has been going all throughout history, and it's challenged me, which is why I've dedicated my whole life to it. Even as someone who teaches and helps people who've got anxiety change their life, I've battled with anxiety all my life. I battle with it every day, but I battle a little bit better than I used to. And I've done a lot of research. I have not met anyone in my life. I've never met anyone who doesn't have anxiety. I've mentored, this is not bragging, I've been to doctors to get help. They've got anxiety. I've mentored doctors. I've mentored bankers, lawyers, millionaires, 9-to-5ers. I've never met anyone who doesn't have anxiety. But the difference is, two choices. Some people allow anxiety to keep them debilitated, and they don't go and live the life that they deserve, that they could live, where others choose to live a brave life. I chose to live a brave life. Like I said to you when I had that realization and I heard Les Brown's message and I prayed, kind of for the last 20 years I've been living a brave life, kind of since 20, the struggles, and I'm age 40 now. I say I'm 40 years young because I don't feel old. So, you know, anxiety is normal. You know, all your heroes, everyone you look up to, guys and girls, has got anxiety. Now, you might look at people sometimes and think they don't have anxiety, they're confident. You're wrong, they do have anxiety. They might hide it well, they might be a bit more confident than you, they might be less confident. It's all about how you deal with it. Everyone's got it, man, and even studying faith a bit more, I'm still very new to the faith. It's part of the journey, it's how you deal with it. You know, that's really the truth. You know, I love that Braveheart speech. I'm a bit obsessed with it. I want to do a version of it. You know, Braveheart, obviously everyone knows the film Braveheart, Mel Gibson. When he gives that speech, it's so beautiful when he says he gives that talk and he says, you know, basically you've got a choice, you know, run. He says to the army, run and you'll live, at least a while. And then he says, what does he say? He says, and dying on your bed many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance to come back here and to tell our enemies that you can take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom? I like to use that same analogy for anxiety. Imagine laying on your deathbed. We're all going to be there eventually. I'm sorry to be, it's true. You're laying on your deathbed, and you got the pain of regret because you said to yourself, man, I didn't live my dreams. I didn't give everything I could give because I let my anxiety rule my life. What would you give on your deathbed if you could trade all the days to go back to your youth to win? Sorry, I got a bit wrong there. I'm going to say the speech better. It didn't come out as right. So we've all got anxiety. You know, cheesy, but it's true. The hero and the coward, they both got anxiety. They're both equal. They got social anxiety, they got doubt, they got shame, they got insecurity, they don't feel good enough. They got all the fears that we've all got, the hero and the coward, but they both respond differently. When it comes to the fear or the battle, whether it's psychological, mental, emotional, it's an analogy, it's true. They're both, look, so you got the hero and you got the coward. Okay? Two people, both feel anxiety, both feel fear. They're in battle. When it comes to it, the coward can't cope, runs away. The hero stays in the fear, sits through it, fights, and victory. So there's no shame in having fear and anxiety. Everyone's got it, but what are you going to do about it? And that's what I tell myself every single day, and that's what I help my clients with, or anyone, because, you know, when I was younger, I remember thinking, one day I'm going to be really truthful with the whole world, because a lot of people were not honest with me and it used to bother me. No one was honest when I don't mean no one was honest, but I mean look, I had a question when I was younger and it used to really make me suffer and it used to make me really depressed. And the question was, why am I so frightened? And am I the only one that feels scared of everything, a lot of things? Do other people feel fear? When I would ask people, they'd say, no, I don't feel it. And I think, I must be weird then, I must be a coward, I must be weak. So when I went on this journey to try to figure out how can I fix this problem that I've had since a child, which is at times destroying my life is great, but I'm always scared underneath, I'm frightened, I'm scared of everything. And I've got a lot of You know, I feel like I've got a lot of, I've got, you know, some talent in me, but I'm scared all the time. And everyone else seems not scared. Why do I feel this fear? What's going on here? How do you overcome it? So when I went on this journey and I started to face my fears and get more confident, I later realized that they weren't honest because they're scared. They didn't admit it. Pride and shame. Fine, I'm not judging now. I continued on the journey, studying, learning. I would ask myself, has Bruce Lee got fear? Bruce Lee is like my hero. Bruce Lee is like a hero to so many people. I love Bruce Lee, I still love him. I study a bit more and realize, of course Bruce Lee had fear. He admits it. He was motivated by fear, by anger, by people being racist, by determination. He even says it in his life story. His father believed that there were demons coming to get him. There was a curse. So Bruce Lee had a lot of fear, but Bruce Lee had the courage to live a great life and inspire so many people, including me. And he died at 32 and he's been remembered forever. That inspired me. So it's not about the fear and the anxiety, but it's what you're going to do about it. How are you going to live? Have you got the courage to be honest about it and not be afraid and go and live a great life and be brave? So it's about courage. So when I was asking people when I was younger, are you afraid? And they would say no, and I'd feel ashamed and horrible and insecure. They were not being honest. They were terrified. Everyone's terrified underneath. It's true. Later on, Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, you know, amazing athlete. You know, many people were afraid of him. I was scared of him growing up. He gets older, shares a story, he's humble, and he says he's terrified. It's inspiring. So if Mike Tyson is terrified underneath, and Bruce Lee, George St. Pierre, why do you feel ashamed or embarrassed to go, you're scared? What are you going to do about it? I'm scared. I'm 40 years of age. I've faced a lot. I've overcome a lot. I'm still scared. But I'm not scared or afraid to admit that to the whole world because I've got past that now. If someone was to start judging me, I would laugh. It would be like someone saying, ha ha ha, you go to the toilet. And I'd be like, well, ha ha ha, you go to the toilet too. Ha ha ha, you know, Jonathan's just admitted he's scared. I'll go, well, you're scared as well. And if you're not scared, then why don't you give all of your money to charity then? I'm not doing well, because why don't you go and do a public talk in front of thousands of people and talk about all the things that you're ashamed of? Or why don't you go and help people? Because you're scared. So don't be silly, don't be smart. Have some humility and tell the truth. And then we can build character, then you can build more courage and you've got fear. Everyone's afraid, everyone's frightened underneath. Everyone who's living and breathing is frightened unless they have a spiritual awakening, and I don't even believe that. Even when you have an awakening, you're still afraid. Some people can control fear better. I am not any less afraid at 40 years young than I was when I was an 8-year-old, 10-year-old boy. But I am more braver. I'm older, I'm maturer. I'm still stupid, and I like to believe I'm kind of smart too. And I'm more honest, I'm more open, I've grown more. But my fear hasn't gone because I'm human. And that has been the truth that I was searching for. And it's so obvious when I look back. And, you know, I'm just going to be honest. I used to look at my dad and think, my dad's got no fear. Like, when I looked up to my dad growing up, and I still do. And of course, then he admits as he gets older, yeah, I was scared growing up. But I controlled it well, or I hid it from you. Oh, why didn't you just say it, Dad? And, you know, it makes me feel better. Everyone's afraid. Everyone's scared deep down. It's all about how you deal with it and how you live and what you give. That's why I really appreciate people that are honest and they're humble and they admit it. George St. Pierre, what an amazing man. I don't know much about UFC. I know a little bit, but I just like good people that are honest. He inspired me. George St. Pierre, GSP, is one of the greatest fighters in UFC of all time. He's honest. He goes, before my fights, he said, sorry my language, he said, I had to take a shit in the toilet because I couldn't speak to anybody. I was terrified of losing, getting humiliated, getting judged, scared to death. When he got in that ring, he was amazing. How do you explain that? Well, I just explained it to you. It's not about fear, it's about how you manage it, your courage. How do you perform under pressure, you know? So if that's not enough to inspire everybody, then maybe I need to get stronger coffee. One of my friends, I'm not going to say his name, is a childhood friend of mine. I met him the other day. I love him. He actually lives on my street. We were friends, and we were friends from when we were young. And he was one of the toughest guys in my school, right? He used to stick up for me. He was stronger than me. He never bullied me. We were friends. He used to come to my house. My mum knew him. I used to go to his house. I knew his mum. But he was very feared in my school. You know, he was very respected. Now, we're older now. We have a good laugh. And he says to me, "Do you remember that time we were younger?" Because I was around his area, and you know, a very dangerous area, a lot of gangs, and I was scared because there was a gang. I thought they were going to try and rob me, and I was like asking for his help, and he kind of protected me. And he went, "Remember that time we were younger, and we were going through the estate, and that gang came?" And I said, "Yeah." He went, "I was scared to death." And I said, "Was you?" And he went, "Yeah." He goes, "I just hid it." So there you go. When I was young, I thought he's got no fear. I'm a coward. He just hid it better than I did, and he managed it, and he admitted to me the other day. So everyone's afraid, everyone's got fear. Your question is quite funny. That's a good question. Well, that's the chance you take, isn't it? Sorry, my eyes are aching a bit. What if you face your fear and it kills you? That's actually a really good question. That's a very good question. That's made me think. Phil. Well, that's the chance we got to take. Every single day we risk death. We don't think of it like that, you know. So you've got to live life to the full, and obviously every now and then we've all got to escape thinking about death, because we won't be able to live. So you've got to have a healthy balance with coming out, and you know, depending on what you want to achieve. But yeah, as I said, I've had therapy. I've been to therapists. They've helped me a lot. I can see that they've got fear. They're nervous. No judgment. They're human. If all of you look carefully, and you be smart, you'll be able to see the fear that I've got in me as well. I'm not embarrassed about it. Why would I be? I'm actually, I appreciate my honesty and my courage. It's taken me, I've had to face many, many deaths to be dishonest and tell the truth and help people. Without fear, you wouldn't be able to achieve things. So it's about how you use it. Everyone's got it. Floyd Mayweather, he's got fear. He's a master at managing it. He can control it, but he's got it. When you're human and you're breathing, you're going to have fear. So people, I think this conversation is never going to get boring, because there's a part of the human ego that really hates that statement, doesn't like it, because the ego is insecure, it wants to be in control, and it doesn't want people knowing that it's got weaknesses. But the ego is what creates most of the fear, if not all of it. So yeah, it's part of the human challenge, and I suppose that's where faith comes in. I was fearful about doing this live stream. I mean, I was fearful. I wasn't as afraid as I would have been years ago, because I've got a lot of experience and practice, but I was scared to do it, because I knew that I was going to talk deeply and share more about my story. But now I'm enjoying it and loving it. And on another level, you could say, well, you don't appear to have any fear. I've been speaking now for an hour and 38 minutes. I don't have a script. I'm not running out of things, because it's my passion. This is what I love doing. But I've had to face death to get to this point. Loads of embarrassment. People actually saying that they're going to shoot me and kill me growing up. I'm sure you've all had some of that. Being hit, being attacked, and being here because of surviving and continuing. So, you have to learn to control it and work with it. Yeah, he was amazing. That's where most of what I said is my teaching, but Cus D'Amato, Tyson's trainer, he's the one that said the hero and the coward. I don't know if he got that from someone else, and then Teddy Atlas said it. So I like that analogy, which is true. It's funny, isn't it? Because, and I mean this well, I hope you guys, girls, take it well. Most successful people, again, success can be defined different. Most people that have been to hell and back and are sharing their story and they're not hiding, they're being vulnerable, they're helping people. They're all very good at admitting they're afraid, but they do something about it. And I've noticed, and I hope this inspires people, look, if it's going to offend you lot, you're going to get offended. I'm trying to be honest and help you. And if you get offended, then, you know, get some therapy. A lot of people that struggle to be successful in life, if however you define that, happy, peace, help people, they don't admit that. They don't admit that they're afraid. It's too much pride. So admitting that you're afraid is not going to make you a coward. It's actually going to help you to overcome a lot of the fears and deal with it better. But yeah, I've been around some of the bravest men, bravest women, and at some point they all admitted, you know what, I am afraid, or I do have fears. You know, so yeah, it's how you manage it. You know, it's energy. It's just one of them things. Go back to school. We all went to school. My first day at school, I was terrified. I was shy. I was nervous. Everyone was scared. But you know, you work through it. You're awkward, and then you make a friend. You get a bit more comfortable. So it's not like, for the most part, unless you've got a mental illness, which I've had, but generally, when you're mentally well, you're not going to be afraid every minute. That wouldn't be possible to live like that. So of course we have a lot of moments where we're relaxed and we're calm, which is beautiful, but a lot of our life, especially if we don't get control of our fears, is fear and worrying. But there's good fear, there's healthy fear, and there's an unhealthy amount where you're letting it get out of control. And like you said about the cost analogy, that it can, you know, fear can, you know, cook a house and feed a family, but if you don't control it, it can burn a house down. So yeah, you've got to learn to control it and manage it. We'll be coming to the end now. Wow, it's almost 12 o'clock. Wow, I've actually got to have a rest. I am exhausted. This has been a great talk. I wanted to do like a marathon live stream. Oh man, God, wow, what a talk. Guys, this goes brilliant. I am shattered. I'm gonna have a good sleep. I was up early this morning. I did my run. I did 3 live streams. This is a long one. I loved it. I did my gratitude. Well, I fasted today. I bought my healthy food at home. If I'm going to get to eat, I'm going to have a good sleep. Got continue tomorrow. I had a 4-hour client session yesterday. That was great. This has been a blessing today. I am knackered. Yeah, I appreciate everyone coming on, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of it. Yeah, you know what? We'll call it a night today. I can't remember exactly how long I fasted for. I will do a video at some point, guys and girls, and I'll go more into it. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It was great. I shared a lot of my story there, and yeah, I can't speak anymore now. I'm done. I'm exhausted. You guys and girls have been great, and people are going to take what they're going to take. And my last message is, whatever people are going through, everyone's always going through some struggle. It doesn't have to be mental health. But all I can say is, from my experience, there's always hope. Ask for help if you need help. There is always hope, even if you don't believe there is. Practice gratitude and take one day at a time, and do the best you can. And I'll speak to all of you soon. Have a blessed weekend. I'll probably be on tomorrow. Yeah, definitely. Appreciate all of you being great support. Thanks for listening to my story. Brilliant. All right, gratitude. Speak to all of you soon. Good night.